We're older than most people in this space,
Not looking
but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really going to create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's going to become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base in the heart of midlife crisis. Not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw conversations. We think it's gonna become a lost art. So we're here to make that happen, to bring it all to you, and to help you expand, learn, and grow. And we came up with a very simple mission statement. That mission statement is to bring back the lost art of genuine human connection. And I got one last thing to say, and I'm dead serious when I say this. I genuinely, and Maddie genuinely believes we were put on earth to do exactly what we're doing now. We love doing this. We love meeting new people, and it just gets us so freaking excited. We think you as family, and we love you all. So, at the base and the heart of midlife crisis, not gonna lie, it's Mikey G and Maddie Mintz. And why it is because over 30 years ago, I met this crazy SOB at the 4th grade bus stop. I swear to you, when I first laid eyes on this dude, he was perpendicular to the ground, or not perpendicular, like horizontal to the ground, hanging at a 90-degree off a stop sign. And I was like, what the hell did I just get myself into? And since that, we had a budding, flourishing relationship, been best friends our whole lives. Obviously, life got in the way. You go to college, you get married, you start businesses, things happen. Fittingly enough, our midlife crisis brought us back together, hence the name. We're older than most people in this space, but we found NFTs about a year ago, and then we said, you know what, we're really gonna create a company. As we get more connected, as we go into the metaverse, what we're about to do is meeting new people, having real raw. What up, folks? We're back, baby. It's been a while. Had a lot of things going on last week, family obligations, taking care of the wife, and, you know, the things that really matter in life. But one thing that matters to me is all of you, and of course, my man, Maddie Mintz, and freaking Edge. I'm freaking excited to meet him online, build a relationship, and have a good time. How you doing, Maddie?
Dude, I'm loving life. It's a great day. It is no longer fall though. I don't care what anybody says. It's cold.
It's cold as
It's
shit,
just
man.
cold. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, the like walking to your car, you're uncomfortable, chilling cold. We're there, man. It is what it is. But yeah, life is good. It was an interesting week last week. I know you were busy, but I got a lot of work done. And dude, I'm excited, man. We've been clipping up some stuff. We got some things in the pipeline with midlife crisis. Mike and I have been talking. It's gonna get juicy here, so you all just got to pay attention.
Beyond, yeah, I like that. That's a good way. I love when you say juicy. It makes me chuckle inside every time. I love how you say juicy. Gets me excited. But yeah, man, we're gonna have
Well,
a
that's a
good time.
throwback. That's a throwback from our ESO days. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, that is true. I
See?
totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. Things are getting
Yep.
juicy. But yeah, man, everything's been great. Like I said, I had a busy week. Things are good though. I'm pumped to be here. Like you said, juicy, man. We got things happening. Like lots of things happening. Really fun people. And really, we're just going to keep on making content, being creative, and talking to awesome people like Edge. And, you know, what I love about this, Manny, and I get so excited every day, is we'll never be the masters, right? We get to learn every day from awesome new people that have
Yeah.
totally different experiences. And I just love freaking what we do. And
Dude, it's
with that,
amazing.
I think we just roll right into your beautiful introduction of this. By the
Yeah.
way, please write in chat or give me a thumbs up if you think Edge is as sexy as I do. He's a good looking dude. I'm not going to lie.
This is true. This is true. I mean,
Love
should
it,
we
bud.
settle this now? Or,
Positive
are,
reinforcement.
are you, so just in case the ladies are asking, I mean, are you available?
I am.
Some of them might want to know that. We may need to throw this, we could turn this, do a little pivot here, what kind of show this is.
That's a loaded question. We weren't talking about that one, Maddie.
Uh-oh. Okay,
No,
on the spot.
to get straight to the point. I am single, right? But I'm
Oh,
so locked in the space that I feel most betrothed at the moment to Web3.
Ladies, Edge is married to the game, so you just have to understand it. It's the way it is, man. No worries.
Love it.
He's chasing the dream. So folks, who are we talking to today? Let me tell you about Edge. So here's some interesting, for those of you who don't know, and we just met a couple minutes ago. So I was, just kind of asking some fun facts. Tell me about your background. And here's what I thought was cool because I resonated on this. You actually have a very similar background to me in the sense that I did not grow up as a people person. I studied aerospace engineering, and I thought it was fascinating because you said you're an introvert, but to overcome that because you were committed to personal development and being the best version of yourself. You even used the reference to the 2%, which I loved. We'll get in that conversation later. You started at selling car washes, moved to door-to-door sales, and that is always, anybody who knows anything about sales who has done door-to-door, you already know that grind. That is a special type of person. And then parlayed that, kept growing, 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 all the way up to owning his own ad agency and SEO business, which he started back in 2016, and became just a brand, build a little brand empire. You know what I mean? He's making it happen, committed to helping other people be their best version of themselves, and he's leading by example. So, a background in customer service, sales, and then, of course, having your own business. But an interesting fact that you didn't know about Edge: Edge, like all hobbits, is a gardener at heart.
I
And
love
that is
this
a
one.
special, special trait. And so we're going to talk about it because I was not prepared for that when we said, hey, what's a fun fact? And, I get it. When we ask this, we put people on the spot, and so no one knows what to say, right? But when he said that he was a gardener, I was like, boom, this is it. Because I mean, let's just get honest. 2022, how many people really have the green thumb these days? Like, isn't that kind of the thing? Like, the older generations. I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't like plant things that grow anymore. So I'm interested about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you seem like a very, very interesting. Um, you have very interesting background, and I'm curious because it sounds like what you've done is you've taken something that is not natural to you and you've honed it into a skill and monetize it in a way so you can help develop people and make them better. So it sounds like your thought process and what you're trying to do with your life is very similar to what Mike and I's is, which is essentially pay it forward, right? Because it's not a comfortable thing to do all the time. But it's important, and we need more people to do it and commit to it. So, welcome to the show, man. We're excited to have you. It's going to be an amazing conversation.
Glad to be here, my friend. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks so much for anyone's time who's listening today. Definitely about to get into it today. And yes, there are some big things coming in with midlife crisis. If you've been following the whole plan so far, you can see the value streamlining your way. So yeah, let's get right into it, my friend.
Dude,
Really appreciate everyone today.
I love it. And I'm just going to say, have you had an intro that exhausted? We called you beautiful. We buttered you up a little bit. You ready to do
Ego
this thing?
stroke. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
We're here for you, man. We're here.
All right, so we will move on to the world famous midlife crisis question, and that is, how did you get to the seat you're sitting in today? Please give us Star Wars episode 1, 2, and 3. Start when you're a baby in the crib, start in high school, but don't start when you learn about Web3. We can't wait for the journey. Hit us, brother.
Yeah, so start when I'm a baby in the crib, right? So I guess jumping into life from the forefront, very eager child, privileged child, being an American born into that sort of situation, right? I already had ease of access to education and many things that you might not necessarily take for granted in other areas of the world. And that's something that I've come to realize as I've aged further, right? So definitely privileged in that situation, but also very introverted, right? And from a certain circumstance that I was so shy, so locked into my inner circle, which was quite frankly family at the time, that I was sort of unattuned to creating new relationships. And my family at the time sort of saw that as maybe evidence of maybe me not being able to capitalize on my fullest potential, right?
Hmm.
So therefore, they actually enrolled me at the time, 6 years old, in acting classes, which I think helped me phenomenally, at least in
What?
sort
6
of
years old?
building, yeah, 6 years old
Dang.
acting
That's wild.
classes. So I'm literally going after kindergarten, first grade, straight to these acting classes, which were just moments to really get locked into choreography, right? I didn't see it as much more than that at that time, but
Mm-hmm.
it really helped lock me into a focused state of mind, especially in these sort of high tension situations that I naturally fall into, right? And that's just because I'm an introverted individual. So wanting to capitalize on that, or at least taking the steps to capitalize on that as a child, sort of positioned me to at least take the stepping stones to really get this almost as a career decision of mine, right? So in high school, even, I started actually selling car washes. I started working at a car wash over here in Kansas City. I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, by the way,
Oh,
called
yeah.
Waterway Car Wash. And this simply selling up to a maximum of like $120 Waterway package, car wash package, right? So this was my entry into the space. This sort of gave me the initial dopamine flow of getting that great sale, really coming to the workplace with a set mind frame and a set goal one day and actually achieving that, right? It was sort of my entry into what kind of life a life of sales could be.
Right.
And I have to say, I really enjoyed it, right? So from that point, education just continued to streamline, graduated high school, wanted and had aspirations of going to college, as many Americans, collegiate or at least in their mid 20s, early 20s at the time, certainly would, right? So I sort of worked my way through college. I did an accelerated bachelor's degree program in getting a degree around organizational leadership and and its business administration backing. I spent my time sort of focusing on that, and at the time I was preoccupying myself by actually working in a barbecue establishment in Kansas City. So somewhat prestigious at the time. It was certainly paying the bills. Barbecue establishments in Kansas City, if you know, here in the Midwest, Kansas City in particular, those who don't even know where that's at, that's okay. It's right next to Colorado. That's all you need to know, right? But essentially, Kansas City, there's not a whole lot known about it other than two things. It's second behind Rome as far as the most fountains per capita in the whole city, and additionally, the most barbecue establishments within a city as well. The whole city itself holds over 300 barbecue establishments. So per capita, we certainly have more barbecue establishments and more options in that regard for everyone. Beyond all that, what that did is it created a foundation, not only in organizational leadership and my backing with that as well, but it also helped create a foundation as far as leadership is concerned within that company itself, because I was given the opportunity to train the servers that were entering the company anew as they saw sort of a leadership bound or at least potential a drive to want to do better just in my life and in the world of business development, right? So all of this led to the transition, more or less, of me getting that degree. And that, my friends, was probably the most trivial time in my life, right? Because I got that degree. I was 26 years old at the time, getting my bachelor's degree, organizational leadership, minor in business administration. And essentially, I kind of stuck with what was comfortable at the time, which was doing that barbecue related job, being a personal a trainer within that corporation, right? Jack Stack Barbecue, just to identify it, give them a little bit of personal marketing and
is their barbecue delicious? This is
their
question.
barbecue is delicious.
All right.
But with reason.
I see you're wearing a medium-sized shirt, man. I don't know if delicious is the way we can describe that barbecue.
I'll get to that sign of financial security soon enough, Matty Mitch. You give me a break, man. Okay. I'm a glutton at heart.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So you're living the comfy train. By the way, man, been there for decades, so I get it. And so yeah, what was the next thing there?
So the next thing, honestly, I was living the comfy train. I was doing, I thought, well in life from at least a fiscal basis, right? Because I was paying the bills, and just with my level of acumen, I was able to help friends in their own business endeavors as well. So formulating a little bit of a pull from that, right? Beyond all that, however, I really came to my pain point, and I really want to highlight that as evident. The pain points in my life have always been the most transitional toward the greatest tier of growth and development in my life, right? So a great pain point for me at that point in time, 2015, 2016, I was in a relationship and this relationship ended poorly. And at the end of the relationship, I sort of got uh, a remark that stuck with me. And it was like, it was contextually, it was, you're not going to make anything in your life or really get anywhere, right? And that really stuck with me. So that year, I read 12 books just in the tier and path toward personal development. And I started my own business. I started my own business on ad agency and SEO. So my first LLC,
Mm-hmm.
a great experience, quite frankly, because I at the time I paid a business mentor, Gallant Dill, to help me enter that space. Paid him a few grand to help walk me through the process, make sure that I was successful, and more importantly, I paid him that money so that I could step into his mastermind group. And I really
Mm.
think that's where the value came. And that's where the real transition had begun in my life, at least to where I'm at today in
Mm-hmm.
this chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was able to pull from that mastermind group the examples of work, the references that I needed, and at least beginning that initial streamline of business with ad agency and SEO work, right? Because the main obligations, the main objections that you'll ever get as far as sales is concerned is quite frankly examples of work and references, right? And having that tiered behind the mastermind group really helped me at least get a foundation in that field. And quite frankly, that's what helped broaden my horizons, not only in the realm of business acumen, but also in the realm of commerce, right? Because I wanted to naturally, excuse me, making money in my own LLC. I wanted to broaden my nest egg,
Mm-hmm.
respectively, right? So at the time, I discovered cryptocurrency
Mhm.
and did a mediocre investment back in 2016. This prepared me, my friends, perfectly for the 2017 bull run because there is a major uptake in Bitcoin price,
Yeah.
and I was able to de-risk, right? I was able to enjoy the fruits of my investment labors, so
Yeah.
to speak. But this
So did you
time,
buy Bitcoin in 2016 is the question.
yeah,
Damn,
100%.
damn.
And
Good
this
job.
put me in a really good spot, especially after Thanksgiving 2017, Bitcoin like did a 17,000, 19,000 top hike, right? And I basically was able to cash out a good portion of those holdings at 17, which gave me a really good, it de-risked, right? I was able to get a little bit of dopamine, I guess you could say, a little bit of positive reinforcement
Yeah.
And you got a little
from,
cushion. You got a cushion too.
yeah, absolutely, right? It opened my eyes, just like when Maddie Mintz first got the indication from Mikey that there's the Cool Cats mint, right? That
Yeah.
that did phenomenally well when Midlife Crisis was in its pure beginnings, right? So those those initial wins really open up your eyes, at least as far as the potential of something, right? So I really
Yep.
had opened my eyes. However, this time of this bull run of sorts was immediately accompanied with a sort of a time of uncertain market sentiment,
Mm-hmm.
almost relatable to the time we're in right now, quite
Right.
frankly. However, this being my first time experiencing that, I had succumbed to fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? In which case, I continued to pull out profits, right? But not necessarily profits in the sense of really benefiting me, benefiting my nest egg for the long term, right? Because
Hmm.
if I had held all these investments up until now,
Well, of course.
even now in this questionable market sentiment, I still feel like I would be at a better position, at least then and there, right? And certainly in a better sentiment. I really think that's the main thing, at least in a space of investment. You really need to maintain that mental clarity, that
Right.
mental acuity to really ensure that you can wake up and function on a day-to-day basis and thrive on a day-to-day basis because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much opportunity. Being able to pick the different pieces is not only a personal function, but I think it's a communal function too, which will always drive me back to that mastermind group element, which is, I think, what really started opening my eyes, at least as far as the NFT space is concerned.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, NFTs sort of pinged on my radar screen back in summer of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
No big pings. I didn't really step directly into the space.
Right.
I actually didn't have any direct steps into the space until October of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, I kind of had my live and let learn scenarios. I got rugged for lack of a better term. Kind of stepped.
Who'd you get rugged
initially.
by? That's always a great one to
good
know.
Lord.
Don't even remember.
No brainers. No brainers was
No.
a mint that I got rugged with initially. I did Crypto Clause, which was another Solana mint that obviously didn't do very well. But regardless of that, my initial steps into Ethereum and Solana networks were not good. My memorable ones, at least, the ones that I really had put time into, and put time into Crypto Clause. But regardless of that, the ones that I had put time into, I didn't really get much of a return from. Right. But in following influencers, specifically Matt Cabuzio at the time, I had sort of noticed
Cabuzio. Am I supposed to know who this person is?
No, not necessarily, but
Okay.
you may know him from, he has his own Patreon group. He's got a Whale Worldwide NFT collection. He's also the owner, or was the owner, of NFT HUD, an analytics platform that surfaced roughly in January.
Okay.
But beyond that, guy called out Hate Beast. I jumped in roughly around Thanksgiving of last year, right? And obviously it was nothing like I'd really experienced. I mean, Hate Beast, if anyone can recollect it or was in the space at that time, was an immeasurably hyped project that had an extreme amount of interactions on a daily basis, right? And I really saw, I guess, sort of the potential of the space. I really started making connections and networking with other individuals, right? Because I had the platform to do that, right? It was my initial experience in VCs and Discord, right? So I was able to sort of build that rapport from that standpoint.
Right.
And I ended up getting WhiteList. I did it through content creation, oddly enough.
Did I give you WhiteList is the question.
Potentially. So my WhiteList was awarded to me through, if you had anything to do with the Christmas contestant winners.
I looked a lot of them, bro. I looked at a lot of them.
That was me. Yeah. So
probably
I was one of the
said,
Christmas contestant winners.
This dude looks good. Give him WhiteList. He's a beautiful human being. There are so many, man. It was there's thousands and thousands of. That was a wild time, man. It was such a cool moment in history.
Yeah. I've never seen a Discord like that.
But we're cutting you off, man, because you did an awesome job of going through episode, I'd say 1, and then you got to 2, and we're already getting to kind of 3. We got to go back, brother. So we got to start back all at 1 because you said a lot of juicy things. And I'm going to start with just one that's really interesting to me. And you mentioned this acting at a young age, right? And I'm assuming, so that was obviously you were too young to make that decision, but your parents made that for you. And then as you grow, you have something in you to kind of, it seems like you keep on putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Is there anything else from a young age that your parents did that's just really stuck and resonated with you to kind of make you into the person that you are today?
Yeah, my father never had the opportunity to get summer camps growing up. So I was immersed into a lot of summer camps. I never really had a summer growing up where I didn't have anything to do. right? There wasn't a task for me to wake up for every day. There wasn't an obligation for me to be somewhere, right?
Right.
So I guess that's kind of been instilled into from a certain degree into my life, just the way that I live it in general, right? Because I always feel like on a daily basis, we always have something to do, right? There's something that we can achieve, something we can accomplish that's really going to push us to that next level, the next tier, at least
Right.
put us in the position to get to that next level or tier, right? So I think that might be something that might have been a little bit more erroneous at the time.
Right.
Um,
Do
and yeah, I just really liked nature. I really liked from the camps. I really just liked fishing. I like creek walks. Just catching fireflies. That was a thing here in
yes.
Kansas.
Oh, it was in
So like,
Maryland too. We love
yeah.
that. So,
So
so that and that's interesting because the other thing I heard from you there is you went the nature route, but it's almost like you got used to waking up and over time kind of really carving that mindset of like, hey, I'm ready to tackle the day and do something productive. Is that right? Or am I off base on
yeah,
that one?
totally. I mean, there's nature and there's nurture in life, right? And I think that might have been one of those aspects that was more a nurture, right? Getting up every day and having a task at hand, right, can almost subconsciously acclimate you to the same processes and tasking going forward in the future, right? Now, I'm sure we're human, right? I gotta definitely highlight that. So there's obviously voids in that path.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm certainly not perfect. So in that regard, there's definitely been days where you could consider general failure as far as
Right.
being able to task manage and totally accomplish everything that you set and tiered for yourself that day, right? So
Right.
just from that standpoint, every day is a fight. Every day is an opportunity. You don't have to win all the battles, but if you just have a net gain over time, you can
Sure.
make good progress, right? And that's one thing that I've noticed about in life is not only pain does that help toward growth, it just pure time and determination
Right.
always makes for success as well.
So the last question to follow this up, and then I'll let Maddie add into the conversation. But another interesting thing that my head goes to here is you've learned this kind of like task oriented daily regimen. For people that think like that, and especially entrepreneurs, the people that really do want to like make a substantial change on a daily basis. What have you learned over time about the failure part? Because how many days you have where you don't hit that list? What do you say to yourself? What do you do to help yourself along that path when you hit disappointment?
It's a tough one. It really is. I think the biggest thing for me has been having a support group to fall back behind, and which is why I find so much value in mastermind groups,
Mm,
right? Because they are not only able to help you in the world of business, in the world of commerce, they're really able to help you in real life as well.
right,
So that's one thing that I really enjoy is just having a support group to help you through the process, because it is hard, right? You have that subconscious mind that's the fight or flight mechanism that helped us as human beings survive during
right,
those hunter gathering days, right? Like it's still going off in this modern day and era, and there's no need for it, but it's just something that we need to be aware of and deal with, and that awareness, sometimes that's not necessarily a personal struggle. Like you really ought to take the opportunity to use that as a potential circumstance to gain more rapport with other individuals, right?
right, right,
Because as human beings, oddly enough, we all have our own experiences, right? But there's interrelational aspects with every story, every experience, every lesson, right? I
right,
feel that people have sort of that the ambiguity to it that allows other people to really take hold of it themselves as well.
right.
So personal personal support group and my own just personal development path, but it's not an easy road. Like I've had struggling days for sure with
Right.
that, as far as
Yep.
overcoming any kind of adversity.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me you didn't, I'd say you're a liar, bro.
Not Hewitt. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
Affirmations too, guys.
You
You got to
straight
throw
up.
those in. Where's one book that I read while in my path of personal development, my journey of it? It's The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. And
Oh,
literally just talking to yourself, affirming out loud
yeah.
is magic in and of itself.
I
But
thought you were
I'll
gonna
give
say
you.
Miracle Morning. I was like, he's going Miracle Morning for sure.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. There's
a
a
lot
little
of books have,
intuition.
a
Yeah,
lot of books have talked about it for sure.
right.
Totally.
And I lied. I lied. I have one more
Ah,
question.
ah,
Wait,
ah,
hold on,
ah.
Maddie. Because it's on topic. I'm very interested about the support network and the mastermind thing because I 1000% agree with you. My biggest times that I've hit adversity, support network, hands down. If I could put anything at the top of the list, that would be it. I am interested in how did you find your master group or master
Well,
class where you read?
first of all, define it.
Yeah, like
Is this the
define.
Napoleon? Are you talking Napoleon Hill Mastermind? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
honestly,
going
that's
from?
probably what I'm going for, because that's what originally brought the term into my vocabulary,
Like Master Key to
right?
Riches?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, a group of like-minded individuals that want to pursue and achieve the same ends that you are, uh, the same ends as far as the means
Right.
pursuit is concerned,
Yeah,
right?
iron
So they're on
sharpens
the
iron.
same path
Got it.
that you are,
And
right?
how did you
Um,
find yours?
Well, originally my first mastermind group of Gallant Dill, right, stepping into the world of ad agency and SEO is quite frankly the the same world that I had stepped into, I had succumbed to, in the sense that I literally was probably just searching how to make more money, how
Mm-hmm.
to level up as an individual, and through these backlinked keyword searches and through these interest categories, I got an ad from Gallant Dill, right? Like, oh,
Interesting.
what's this? And through that ad, I was able to go through the whole transactional process. So it immediately made sense for me. And that's why I pretty much spearheaded it and have used it as an aspect of just monetization, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
and that's really what I like to see in the whole space of commerce. There's so many opportunities at hand, and whatever you feel a propensity toward, you can really gain a spearhead in, right? And
Right.
specifically in this case and scenario, we obviously talk about Web3 and what led me to this chair, but back onto you on that note, Mikey, before I take over too much.
No. You're not taking over. This is your platform, man. I appreciate it. The only thing I was going to add is it's interesting that Gallant SEO'd you while you were trying to figure out someone like him. So he obviously knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Maddie, go ahead. I promise you.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So I want a couple real quick things. I want to extract some things here from this initial pain point you spoke of. I think this is a good thing to talk about. So first thing, it was a breakup. Sounds very much like, in the movie Invincible when Mark Wahlberg had that note from his ex about the "you're not going to be anything" and whatnot. It's amazing how that's a motivating thing. But I will say this: some people. So when those pain points happen, some people retreat and it becomes a downward spiral, and some people move through it and it becomes an upward spiral. What helped you get into an upward spiral through that? What was your motivating factor to excel through that versus retreat back? And because a lot of people just quit, right? A lot of people just say,
Mm.
crap, but you're right, I'm not gonna make anything of myself, right? Plenty of people do that. What do you think was the difference maker for you in that moment of your life?
Ever since I have been of a young, ever since a child, I have had a high tier of expectation for myself, in the sense that I feel like I'm going to bring value to the world. I'm going to help people. I'm going to do something important that's going to create a lasting effect on this world in some way, shape, or form. Right?
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Honestly, I want to say that it was naturally instilled. I just wanted to do that, right? Like, I guess
I think that
So
could be an
nature.
answer.
prominence, fame, I guess you could say, in Socrates' allegory of love, you can pursue two different forms of immortality in this physical plane. You can pursue the common form, which is that of making your immortality through your offspring, right? Your direct seed, your
Hmm.
physical biological other, or by creating like a lasting effect and name for yourself, right? Like
Yeah,
to this day, we still use the names of these great thinkers, right? It's because they've
sure.
given us such great gifts that we hold and continue to value in our day-to-day life. And I think that I gain a lot more I definitely feel a lot more attuned to potentially helping us all as humans take that next step and level up. And I've almost, I guess you could say, taken it as a personal just a personal obligation to just try and have some sort of effect in
Okay.
being able to help other people,
So there
quite
was a
frankly.
belief system that was instilled, whether it's in your DNA or whether it was taught, is up for debate. But it was either way, it was there, and that's what sustained you through your pain point. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, 100% that, and just the whole the timing of it all as well, right? Because I quite frankly had all these desires, this main focus point behind me, but I was comfortable at the time, right? I was
Yeah.
in a relationship, I was making okay money in my frame of view, but all that just got shattered almost
Yeah.
overnight, in my opinion, and that's because the the symbiotic process of it all got shattered, right?
Right.
There's one
Sure.
void in it all, right?
Right.
So if it had not happened, do you think you would have ever broken out of that comfort zone?
Honestly, probably not. I
All right.
have
Hmm.
to look back at it now and say probably not. I was I
Yeah.
was doing very well. I mean,
Yeah.
in my opinion, for the expectations that I had held to myself, or at least the goals that I had surmised for myself in my early 20s, I was doing great, right?
Yeah.
But
Comfort is a
those all
success
kind of
killer for sure.
100%. But that all changed when my world kind of shattered, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of held a high regard specifically to the relationship. And then when I realized that that wasn't all smooth and gravy, then I realized that there were a lot of aspects of my life that weren't necessarily bred for continuity. And that's what I think I'm really looking for in life is continuity, something that is I can really believe in as far as what I'm doing for the rest of my life, right? And
Right.
I 100% believe in the space of Web3. I personally see blockchain, cryptocurrency as literally breaking down the constraints of income diversity based off regional location in this world, right?
Sure.
So literally we could consider ourselves grandfathers, grandmothers to potentially creating a little bit better of a human experience going forward in the future. So
Right.
this
Hopefully.
fits perfectly as far as what I've stated beforehand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, okay, so still tearing at this pain point, right? The next thing you mentioned, the very next thing you said is you went off and that you read 12 books. Why was that your first task?
Uh, the books I think have really helped me the most in life, right? In
But where
fact,
did it come from? Did you just wake up, break up, I'm upset. You know what? I'm going to Barnes and Noble, right? Was
I
that it? Or what made you think I'm going to go start reading these books?
before reading the actually getting locked into this commitment of reading a book a month, I had been reading specifically Dale Carnegie, How
Yeah.
to Win Friends and Influence People, Napoleon
Yeah.
Hill, How to Think and Grow Rich, and specifically Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week
Fantastic.
and Tribe of Mentors.
Right.
And Tribe of Mentors really affected me because Tribe of Mentors is a very long book, but I highly recommend it. In fact, if there's a book I could ever recommend, it would be Tribe of Mentors for anyone. 500 pages of essentially interviews, not much different than what we're doing today, right?
Yep.
Where you get a kind of a breakdown analysis of what these high performance individuals, these top tier thinkers in our world are doing to create that sort of circumstance. And you would be surprised how many of those individuals are reading books, right? So I saw it as just natural to attaining what I wanted to achieve and what I continue to want to achieve, right? Not reading a book a month anymore, but I still definitely find enjoyment in reading, and I definitely find it is crucial in my path of personal development and staying sharp and keeping that mental acuity, right?
Right. Yeah,
For sure.
I read that book and I revisit it every now. Honestly, I revisit it most to get the list of books that I'm going to read next. Because
well,
good one.
and to your point, I mean, Alex Hormozy talks about this. He's like, it's not about reading a lot of books. It's about reading the right books continually and really getting everything you can out of them, right? And because the thing is I've been there, man. I did the book a month for a long time, and what happens is you start seeing a lot of overlap, right? And that's why Mike was like, oh, I thought it was going to be the morning. What would you say?
Miracle Morning.
The Miracle Morning. But, you know, it could be Hung by the Tongue. There's the Magic of Thinking Big. There's a lot of books that talk about the power of your words, right? And how your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie, and how your own voice is the most powerful thing that your brain will receive. And so there's a lot of topics around it. But when you go back to the real old school, the Napoleon Hills, even Napoleon Hill had a whole chapter in Think and Grow Rich about the value of reading and that leaders are readers, right? And so it's not a new topic. It's just being recycled and quite frankly, brought into a more relevant frame when Tim Ferriss writes it, for example. And you get to kind of see it in application, which is fantastic. So my question then was going to be, you read 12 books. Was one of those books Tribe of Mentors?
No. I had begun Tribe of Mentors before that point.
You'd already started.
Yeah.
So what was the book out of those 12? This is just my curiosity. What was the book out of 12 that really hit you?
Oh, I think that maybe, okay, so this book I actually got out of Peter Thiel's recommendations. This individual was part of the original PayPal group, for those who do not know.
Yeah.
But
he wrote
Peter
a book called
Thiel,
0 to 1. It's fantastic.
Silicon Valley
100%.
Mafia, baby.
Yeah, that's right. Get that one. But regardless, so Peter Thiel highly recommends Sovereign Individual by James Dale Davidson, that essentially talks about, relates the struggle of nation states and almost gives a scenario basis for what our future may look like. And I personally find a lot of assimilation with it, quite frankly, in the sense that I feel that individuals are really getting a lot of choices right now. It's an age of freedom, right? But that freedom is very valuable in the sense that Google, Amazon, the United States government, and all of these nation states, quite frankly, are competing for that, right?
Sure.
And you may be making decisions without even recognizing that you're making decisions based off of third degree or third party influence, right? So for that reason, it's actually, despite all this massive freedom we have nowadays, with great responsibility in the world of Peter Parker, there's always, there's always with great responsibility. There's always
power. With great power.
There's great responsibility. So I got that all conjungled. But regardless of all that, right? It just goes to show that you really need to hold that high tier, high prominence, and respect the state and standard that we are in today. And I think that book really pulls it to prominence and pulls it to a level of understanding for all of us as individuals.
That's fantastic. One last question. It's a real quick one. Boiler Room or Wolf of Wall Street, and why?
Oh, that's a good question.
Probably Wolf of Wall Street, right? But that's more or less, I would say, an aspect of just how I was raised and the individuals I was raised around and the idols and mentors that they kind of held prominent, right? Like Grant Cardone, stepping into that world. I actually discovered Grant Cardone through my buddy Orion Grove, that was actually selling insurance and also providing me sports bookie bets out of Chicago, right? So I mean,
Right.
it's just kind of that kind of atmosphere. So
Yeah.
from that respect and standard, I feel that Wolf of Wall Street seems to have more of a personal affinity to me, but not something that I probably would think too hard on, quite frankly, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Didn't think you were gonna go there, Maddie. I like that question.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
little,
yeah,
just a little
full
nugget.
transparency, full transparency.
That's good.
Were
That's
those
good. Mikey,
were
what's
you
your answer,
talking
by the way?
about like the real life people involved in these stories? Were you talking about the movies? I'm assuming books were written. Like, what was the question there?
Well, if you're talking about Jordan Belfort, right? Like Jordan Belfort has always been, he's been someone who's always been locked on the money, right? But
Right.
Yeah.
he's puts a little bit less significance on the people, right? Like it's more of a sheep and a lion atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like with whether it's a movie or whether it's Jordan Belfort himself, and from that circumstance, I feel that my buddy Orion, Grant Cardone, they all kind of exuded these demeanors of sorts, right? And that's kind of where my initial sales experience was
Yeah.
steeped in. But it's not necessarily my style, right? I'm not necessarily the egoistical or egotistical salesman. I really like breaking things down pragmatically and then giving you guys the opportunity to decide thereafter,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll tell you this though, Mike, because there's in the sales world, right? There's the people that teach the theoretical stuff, and then there's the people that just go do it. And what's cool about Jordan Belfort or Grant Cardone, these guys are famous for like, let me give you an analogy, right? In the fight world, there's all these people that love talking about all of their black belts or whatever, and they'll talk you up. And then there's the person that doesn't say anything and just says, let's get in the ring and we'll solve it, right? And it's like, ooh, that's the person you actually have to watch out for because they don't want to talk, right? They're just ready to do. And there's plenty of people ready to write a book on sales. What's so fascinating about Jordan Belfort or Grant Cardone is they will pick up a phone and just straight up sell things right in front of you. Be like, we don't need to talk about it. Who do you need to sell? Give it to me. I'll sell it right now. And they just do it.
Right.
And it's like that's always been their go-to. And I think I see why that was relatable to you because especially if Grant Cardone's one of your mentors. I mean, that's just everything I've seen with Grant Cardone. He walks the walk. I mean, the dude just he's really good at what he does, and it's cool. It's cool to see. So that's pretty neat.
Sky's the limit for us all. So maybe a cross-relational question would be, have you ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross?
No.
I'm not.
Okay, that's another sales movie that's got Al Pacino in it. So also another noteworthy film flick.
Wait.
That's
There's a
okay.
movie that Matt hasn't watched. This is
What is it called again?
You just blew
Glengarry
my mind,
Glen
Gary?
Ross.
dude. Edge.
And it has Al
Yeah.
Pacino. I
It's
don't
got
even know
Al
what to say.
Pacino
I
in
love
it.
Al Pacino.
Yeah, it's basically your whole breakdown of the sales world. It's a really salesy movie. It's just about it's about five guys that sell basically something that you don't necessarily want to buy after all.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah, but beyond all that, it's great because
Pacino,
you can
Alec
see
Baldwin, Ed Harris.
Dude.
I can't say one of the actors' names. I'll get banned off of YouTube, but he used to be a famous actor. He was in House of Cards, wink, wink.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a heck of a cast. Okay.
I will tell you this, Edge. You made midlife crisis history right there. No one has mentioned a movie that Maddie didn't know. This son
Well
of a
done, sir.
bitch goes.
Man, there's always a first.
you cracked
There is
the
always
code.
a first. You are right.
You tapped into the matrix somehow because Matt knows every movie. Glengarry Glen Ross. I'm writing that shit down. Maddie, are you good?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to pull apart that pain point because
I really like that.
I really think that's a main. Mike and I can attest. We're called midlife crisis for a reason. Pain points are a significant moment for growth in your life, and I just want people to understand that it's not something to be feared. Doesn't mean that it's nice. It doesn't mean that it's pleasant, but it is something you can embrace and recognize. Don't turn from it, man. walk towards it, and there's so much life will teach you.
Right.
And in your situation, I mean, how fortunate. You don't think of it in the when it's happening, during the breakup, things are happening, it feels like your life is collapsing. In the moment it sucks, but when you look back, you're like, man, I am so happy that happened, because it allowed me to evolve and become a better person, a better man, a better sales coach, a better husband, a better brother, a better son, whatever it might be, right? And you get to pour into something and be better. And you do get to a point where you start searching them out. Like, I like getting uncomfortable. It's not fun, but I know it's going to make me grow. And that's I just think that was something I wanted to pull apart, because I think that was a pivotal point. It sounds like that was a pivotal point in your life. So
100%. Yeah, seeking discomfort in general. I mean, that led me to Wim Hof method of anything, cold immersion theory, right? So I
right.
definitely almost seek it from a certain standpoint as well. Blood, sweat, and tears, I like to say, are the common currencies of life. And
Yeah.
if you can utilize those in a productive manner, you can really actually take control of life in the way and manner that you would sort of prefer, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying manifest that mansion overnight, but really at least start living the little bits every day
Yeah.
Sure.
that you
Yeah.
can control, and making those come to fruition as you'd like, right?
You can certainly control reading a book 15 minutes a day. You can certainly control who you associate with. You can certainly control your fitness, right? There are plenty of areas where we can control to create more discipline in our lives, to create good habits that are going to lead to success. And as you said, it's a consistency game, right? That spiral going upwards is huge.
Right. And this conversation is centered around finding or seeking pain. Listen, man, you live long enough. You don't need to find or seek it. It'll come right at you.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
there's this whole other side of the coin of just, can you get through it? And that's like back to that support conversation. That was what worked for me most. Is fortunately, uh, and this wasn't even active. I think it was just a passive thing that I've always been a happy, um, conversational type guy. So I've fortunately attracted good people around me. This was never a thought, like a conscious thought of mine, to be like, I need to surround myself with great people, because I know one day I'm almost gonna die and I need people to keep me alive. But it happened that way. So there's so many different ways you can look at it, is what I'm getting at. So fascinating conversation. Again, I say this a lot when I talk to. I said this in the Operation Sin server last night. Actually, I hung out there. I went into Operation Sin video chat, like the voice chat, turned my video on, and I was talking. I was like, I'll be in here for 10 minutes. An hour and a half later, I'm just still jamming. But one of the things that I said, and I use this narrative a lot when we talk to new people to come on the show, is, and I hinted at it in the beginning, my favorite part about all of this is, like Maddie said, you can start rehashing these same principles with the Miracle Morning. And there are core principles that successful people repeat time and time again. What's so exciting about what we do is it comes from a different person every time. And your story, Kansas City barbecue SEO guy, is going to resonate with someone completely different than my story would or Matt's stories would. And that's what really gets me excited, because of just how many different people we can touch. And it's never ending content. It will never get stale, even though it's about literally the same thing. So I love it.
100% agree. There's even Kevin Smith, right, from Jay and Silent Bob. He said in his book Tough Shit, he says everyone's got a kick-ass story to tell in this world, and by golly, all you need to do is just rise to the podium, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what I'd give as far as advice for anyone listening tonight is go for those uncomfortable moments, right? Those forums, those platforms where you're able to speak and let your voice be heard, right? You may not get what you want to across right then and there, but by golly, you will get to that point. So determination definitely makes for success.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Love it.
So we've smashed through an hour already, and we're just getting started. We're doing. I actually have one more question before I'd like to start. Kind of like a clear cut again, which will be episode 2 for us, which is you started investing in crypto in 2016 and kind of taking us up till you found Llama. So like we'll kind of revisit that. But before we get there, my one last question is love to hear, because we've had people that have started businesses, multiple different people, multiple different types of businesses. In your story, in your context, so you get this master group and you start this SEO business. What are your big takeaways from that period of your life? Because I think a lot can be learned from people that start businesses. What are your big takeaways? Maybe some wins and some losses, not just wins.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to get my wins behind me without taking the personal bite behind me, not pursuing money initially, and really just going to give people value, right? Like, you really need to let your guard down. You need to find people that you can trust. You need to let your guard down and let them help you, right? Like, just be open with them and let them help you. This can be very, very difficult. In fact, for someone who always was just ironclad on kind of just getting things done with my own perseverance in my own way, this was very difficult for me. But in noticing that all you need to do is just let people know about your circumstances, not only does that open up the platform for you to gain assistance and help and to level up, but you're also able to gain more rapport with those measures as well, right? You're able to network. You're able to get that family that's able to help you from now and for the next 5 to 10 years, which I think anyone who's listening to this podcast is probably working for the next 5 to 10 years, right?
Right.
So, yeah, our team's a machine.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. Man, how am I trying to say this? I can't put the thoughts together. Maddie, do you have anything while I try to wrap my head around what I'm trying to say?
I think what you're going for is what you're saying is um, in starting a business, right? What are some of the things that maybe you stumbled over, but became either victories or were just learning experiences? Like, what were some learning experiences from some losses that you had in
Oh,
that
okay.
time of starting a business? Because it is a unique, it's a unique baby to to hold on to when you start a business, and a lot of people don't understand it. But there's a tremendous, as Mike said, there's a tremendous amount you can learn from it, and it's important to. I think a lot of people have these kind of rose-colored glasses where they think, well, you were able to start a business and there were clearly no hiccups, so you must have gotten it at the right time and the luckiest person ever,
Yes.
right? That's what a lot of people hear. And what they don't understand is that no, we all fail, 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 fail. It's like you said, you weren't prioritizing money. If you prioritize people or your customers or whatnot, you're still going to take hits. Um, but long term, you can be successful. So, are there any like maybe key moments where maybe it didn't go the way you thought and it was a learning experience? What's something you learned maybe because you zigged when you should have zagged?
Totally. Just in doing the ad agency and SEO work, right? So
Yep.
I basically got people on a contracted retainer basis where I guaranteed them X amount of leads on a monthly basis, and that these leads would be a high quality, high tier, so that they could increase the pipeline, the return of their monthly net, right? So
Absolutely. Fill the funnel. Yep.
that's what I sort of marketed under, and based off those contracts that I had stepped into, if I didn't meet or exceed the expectation of my clients, then obviously it'd be a refund, right? I did refunds, right? There's some situations where clients just aren't necessarily happy. So of course those are situations considered at losses. But what those losses and eating them did for me is it ensured that I could continue business going forward in the future, right? Because I know I didn't have necessarily a raving fan, but I didn't also have someone who is totally unattuned to me doing any kind of practice in business whatsoever. And that's what really can hurt you as far as business continuity is concerned. So overcoming these losses were extremely important. And that really, in my opinion, to reiterate, required a disposition change, right? Not really looking for the value out of these transactional situations, more or less just trying to give it, right? So that the value that I was receiving in return almost seemed like a no-brainer. You almost want to try and return the value that you're given off the first sale, first transaction that your clients may make respectively, right? So that's what you should always aim for in any kind of business pursuit, in my opinion. But there's gonna be losses, right? There's gonna
Right.
be bad business, but
Sure.
you've got to deal with these things in sort of forging. Here I am from Kansas again, the yellow brick road. So all you have to do is walk it thereafter,
Right.
right? So
Right.
this would definitely be one of the primary losses that I could consider myself really having a major issue with, at least in changing my disposition from the
Yep.
forefront.
Yep.
Beyond all that, however, there's the initial loss of money, the initial lack of positive reinforcement with my decision to choose Gallant Dill as a mentor, right? So these standards also could be considered losses, at least antagonists against me maintaining that premier state of mind so that I could meet and exceed the expectations for my clients and, of course, myself, starting my own business, changing my mindset from that employer to that employer mindset from an employee mindset.
Right. No, I love that, man. And we talk a lot about that, Maddie and I. We talk every day, and what are we doing with MLC, and what's the future? And we have a lot of conversations about what you probably. It sounds like you kind of fell into the trap in the beginning, which Maddie has already started a business. I have a very long, like, high-end corporate career, right? And so we have had that context, and there's been many a times where we could have just chased money, but it's back to that. The only thing we talk about is getting interesting people on the show, continuing to create content and be creative with our content. The rest will come, right? But it's very, very difficult when you see an influencer or someone else creating content in the space, and you're like, I know our content is more impactful and fruitful, but these sons of bitches are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's so difficult to swallow the pill to say, that's okay though, because we're playing the long game.
And part of that long game and what you did and what I heard from what you were talking about your losses is you protected your reputation and your character more than you protected your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is key, because you're right. They may not have been raving fans, right? Um, However, they respected that you said what you were going to do, which was if you didn't deliver and you couldn't give them what they wanted, you would give them a refund. And you eat that, right? That's your monetary loss, but your credibility. That the bottom line is if anybody says, if one of those customers were to speak about you, you delivered. You know what I mean? You did what you said you were going to do, and that goes a long way, because the reason I say that is because we are in a space now in Web3 where I mean, you tell me, Mikey, but I would say reputation at this point is paramount, because there's so many
Oh.
bad apples that we've heard about. People are just thirsty for, is there somebody there that I can just believe in and trust?
Mm-hmm.
When a person's willing to forego the big payout to do what's right, that's the kind of character that people tend to want to follow, and that's the kind of person that long term is going to win,
Right.
right? That's the
Right.
person that makes the long term real
Yeah.
real cash.
Yeah, and there was
So
talk in this space. Dude, it's so hard because things get so manipulated so quickly on Twitter, as we all know.
oh
Even
my
when people
gosh.
have good intentions, right? And we got into this conversation about, the thing that one of the talks of the town right now is 9gag and meme land, and they're about to mint. And I kept on saying, like, dude, totally bullish on this guy. And I'm like, and everyone's like, why? And I'm like, because this guy has a long term. I don't care about all the FUD that people, it's all topical. A lot of that comes from jealousy and envy. I have yet to read something that is like what totally turned me off. But the concept is what we're talking about, and why. But there's very few people that I actually believe in a project. Llama being one of them, right? Because the dude's been doing it for years, and he's still around, and
Yeah.
he continues to still deliver. I think Mean Lamb is going to be a version like that, and that's honestly the only people that you can bet now on are the people that come off genuine, continue to deliver on what they say they're going to deliver on, and have a long-term vision. The rest of it's just bullshit to me at this point. And I think it'll win out in the long run. We're betting on it. What do you think, man?
Right.
What do you think, Edge?
No, I'd 100% agree, quite frankly. At this point in time, it's become evident that we've had individuals that, me as a collab manager, it's been fairly evident, just individuals that are in many projects at once, right? And kind of just rinsing and repeating, but now the space is wisening up to it as well. And to the point where these individuals can't necessarily continue what they've been doing, right?
Yeah.
So just from that standpoint, I definitely see what we are doing as forthright and certainly evident over time, right?
Yeah.
We are certainly playing the marathon race. And let me tell you, my friends, let me reiterate that I personally believe, I have the conviction, but I think rightly so, that we are in a space that ought to be thought of as a vehicle to not only manifesting your dreams, your desires, your legacies, but again, it's really going to help take the human experience to the next level,
Yes.
right? Web3 is the transition of the human experience to commerce, for that matter, into something potentially better, right?
Yep.
And we have a direct effect. We can consider ourselves founders in that regard to being able to change that for something more positive.
Yep. And what's
we're doing
cool,
it right now.
Yeah, well, and exactly what I was going to get to is what's really cool is what we're talking about. You being on the show is a product of us doubling down on what we think is the quality content and relationships, because whether you watched the Helen interview or heard about what we were doing, you approached me, right? And a lot of people approach us because they're like, I just really believe in what you guys are doing. And now we're here. And that is all the long game, coming to fruition, which is really cool to see. Because listen, we all have to start somewhere, right? I was trying to get but like I am in essence midlife's collab manager, so I was getting anybody that just said yes. That's how everyone really starts. But it's fortunate that we're at the point where we're now, and you have the same thing with a brand like Llama. You start getting some level of respect, and people kind of want to ride with you, which is really cool. Really cool.
Rightly so, right? And not saying that there's any one way toward the path of success in this space and just as a person, but yes, all these are certainly positioned by individuals like Maddie Mintz, like Mikey G, that are demonstrating with their examples of work, their references over time, that they're continuing to deliver value to you. And of course, conversely, NFT Llama himself as well, right? So always be the educated mover, in the sense that you really are staying locked in, really opening your eyes to who is providing value over time. And all you have to do is simply look at the examples of work, references, and determining as much. But yes, definitely mastermind groups are all part of it. I certainly see them evident in not only Llama versus Genesis, but also Midlife Crisis as well, right?
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. That's very kind words. And with that, we have closed chapter 1. Now we're on to chapter 2. So take us, you started getting into it, but let's go back. We got 2016. You are buying Bitcoin. And I wish I were you, but it's okay because we all have our own journeys. And you get to the school point where you kind of got a little nest egg, and I'm assuming that builds your confidence into start really doubling down on cryptocurrency and finding NFTs and kind of navigating that space. So Star Wars Episode 2, take us through that finding crypto up till Llama, and then Episode 3 will really be the Llama evolution and whitelist paying and everything that you're doing now.
Sure, absolutely. So cryptocurrency, my discovery of that really came as a result of me in my pursuit of more business acumen, right? At the time, I had started my own ad agency and SEO business. So naturally, in wanting to expand my nest egg, I came across cryptocurrency. Stepping into that space initially in 2016, I invested in Bitcoin straightforward up front. utilizing Binance at the time. I was also investing in Ethereum. I was investing in XRP and Tron Network as well, right? So these are the tokens that really help excel and take me to the next tier when that 2017 bull run had essentially enveloped.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I was really starting to enjoy the fruits of my labor, right? I had de-risked at that point in time successfully as well. And that's even considering my, I also had losses during that time, right? I invested into a rug pull of an operation called USI Tech that promised percentage returns on a daily basis, sort of like an advanced DeFi protocol of sorts. But essentially that money just went poof. So yes, there's been losses throughout the process as well, but it's all net gain, right? And I even treated it as net gain until, quite frankly, the conversion of that market into one of more questionable sentiment, more or less a bull run, where Bitcoin basically did a hike towards 17 and then trickled all the way back down toward 3 until it finally found some consolidation again. But this time was extremely difficult for me as I continued to take profit, right? But I did it under the measure of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which anyone in an investment space knows that these are the common culprits as far as not enabling you to actualize your full potential, right?
Right.
And I think that's what we're all talking about tonight, is just activating our full potential in general, or at least that's been mine as far as my life's pursuit's concerned.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, it's outside of investing, right? You can say the same thing just about life.
That's right. That's right, my friend. So in this endeavor, quite frankly, I just learned my lessons as far as volatility, emotions in an investment space, how they ought to be treated respectively, right? Because I had researched these teams. I knew that these currencies had potential to stay. Heck, just the market caps of them alone would be conviction alone to give you indication that they had futures behind them. But I decided at the time to envelop myself in the common banter that often happens during any kind of questionable market sentiment or bear phase of a market. And that banter is usually related to just exacerbating the negative effects of the market itself, right? So I kind of fell within that. I aligned with that, and for that reason, I wasn't pulling profits out to add more health, wealth, and prosperity to my life, in my opinion, right? Because that I could have just sat through that time, right? I could have decided to just utilize the examples of work and references that I had already found to be present and prevalent at that point in time. And in doing so, I could pretty much follow that conviction to a better investment today, right? Because if I had sat through that period, I'd be in so much better of a state today. But beyond that, that's, again, my first lesson, and it really holds true to today, at least in maintaining conviction, at least regarding certain projects in the space, right? Because all you have to do is look at the examples of work, the references, the teams providing value to you in the long term, at least in verifying that. And again, Midlife Crisis crew definitely providing that for you all, right? So gotta highlight you guys, but also just highlighting that whole process in the space as well.
Right. And so No, go ahead.
Transitioning thereafter, as far as the crypto phases are concerned, it was sort of just a slow accrual at that point in time, right? So I continued to take profits out. I left a little bit of cryptocurrency into certain respective holdings, but then thereafter, I kind of just reversed that phase and started adding money on a monthly basis, and to the point where I got back to 2021 summer of, I've got a mediocre and modest holding in cryptocurrencies, coins, and I'm starting to look at options as far as DeFi protocols are concerned, as well as even NFTs, because NFTs at that point in time are starting to ping on my radar screen as far as a potential opportunity to bring more prosperity to my life, right? Bring more potential of money. But of course, I didn't necessarily step directly into the NFT space, at least until October of that same year, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, for lack of a better term, I sort of got rugged. I more or less built my working book of examples for what may be considered a red flag scenario, right? And that helped me more or less find my first big win in the space, which actually is the first time that I met Mikey G as well. Conveniently as much, I entered Hate Beast.
Yes.
Right? Very hype project at the time. And at least in immersing myself in that community,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to gain myself self-hate list, which I then transitioned that opportunity, that great potential into. I essentially sold before reveal, right? So I sold before reveal.
Smart move,
I
my
put
man.
7.2 ether of liquidity in my wallet, and at that point in time, I was like, "Hey, man, I am ready to start investing into what I thought to be blue chip projects up and
So
coming."
real quick before you go to that, what you did with the 70, what was your list of at the time of these are the no-nos and these are the green flags as to why I'm going to get into a project after being rugged? I'd love to hear your perspective of at that moment in time, not now, but what did Hate Beast convince you of that it was the project you wanted to invest in?
Yeah, so there's constant engagement, right? That was one thing that I had noticed. There's a lot of these projects that had already been involved in had some relative degree of botting going on.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to find good human connection with individuals. In fact, Hate Beast really represented the first project where I was able to develop meaningful connections with other individuals. And those individuals I actually still am connected with to today, right? Like I can still reach out to those people today. I still run into those individuals today.
Throw me
right?
some names.
So,
Throw me some names. I want to know if I know any.
So Isaac Degen. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking. So Ivan Casas, which is Ivan Houses. There's there is
It's all right. You don't need to go off on us.
It's kind of escaping.
It's very interesting because we talked about this in Operation Sin last night. There's a lot of hate people in that server actually, and a lot of very successful projects were launched. Mutant Sheba Club being one of them. Was literally OGs and hate that created that project, and lots of other things have come from there. So yeah, beautiful, cool, man.
100%. And what it really brought forthright to me was a VC experience, right? Because Hate Beast was the first circumstance where I stepped into a voice chat. I was able to connect with individuals on an interpersonal level just with my voice, right? Instead of just through text communication. And at the time, I hadn't really experienced an active voice chat, right? All the projects were more focused on announcements. I didn't enjoy projects wanting us to market for the project. I sort of saw that as a red flag scenario as well. But I've actually kind of sort of since changed my disposition on that. We can go into more of that.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, digitized proprietary assets. That's what they are at the end of the day, right? So you have the full control over maybe adding some value to them at the end of the day as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But
really,
beyond-
really kind of the main part of your list there is you're building genuine connections, and it's not that it's just active; it's active with meaningful conversation.
Yeah, and an organic engagement, right?
Yeah.
Like people are actually not being asked to post; they're just doing it because that's sort of the culture of the community, right? I found myself literally creating content for Hate Beast from finding the coolest Christmas lights in my city and then creating a video focusing on that to actually creating and drawing little hate creatures myself, right? So it was a really art immersive community, and it showed me the prominence of voice chat in the space, right? And that really helped me move into Clementine's Nightmare, which is even more immersive in the sense that I was able to develop connections with individuals that I continue to run into today. you asked me about that, then I'd be like King Kong Crypto, Resang. Like, there's a ton of people that I
Resang.
continue to
Oh,
run
I
in
know
from that.
Resang and I know each other very well.
Yeah, so
Um,
she's awesome.
she actually just linked me up with another project, and again, this Hape's the gift that keeps on giving. Stargirl, community manager of Clementines,
Oh,
is on.
Stargirl, yeah.
She's on the
She gave me
midlife,
whitelist. Sheesh.
and she's on the midlife team. Would have never known.
Eeh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
small
we're
world
all
after all.
small world. It honestly it boils down to, like, even in Hape, um, there was a lot of buzz, but the people that were genuinely wanting to be in the space that stuck around, back to this longevity thing, are here today, right? Like Star, I don't even know. How did we find Star? I feel horrible for saying this. I know how I found Star. Jolly Elves, that
I
shit
was
show
gonna
of a
say,
project.
I was about. That's why you're traumatized.
I'm
Your brain blocked it out
traumatized.
from the project.
So one of my mod buddies started a project, and he was like, "Dude, you want to be a core team?" And he actually was a decent guy, and that turned into a rug and a whole disaster. But that's where I met Star, and all of these people that we've surrounded ourselves with are people like yourself, Edge, that have found good projects, attracted the right people around them, and continued to, drive forward in the space. So it's really cool how it all comes together.
Really does. Yeah, I'm really enthralled with just the whole process of how I've been able to not only assimilate with these groups, but also find, in my opinion, lifelong friends. Right? Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't done any of the in real life events yet, but I'm certainly looking forward to next year.
Oh,
Just my
it's
obligation.
amazing,
Oh,
man.
I
Yeah.
saw the pictures of you in NYC. Everyone got COVID. Don't get me wrong. Like, everyone in our community even got COVID. But
We got COVID
beyond all
hard.
that,
It was
sounded
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like for instance, that's who's now become a really good buddy of ours, Norm, or Clem from Clementines. Talk to him probably on a weekly basis at this point. And that was, we met in person at the hate party. So, and he was on our show, and that's just those relationships will continue to bear fruit in the future. So it's really cool. So
Yeah, yeah.
so you're crushing the networking, love and hate. You make the right decision. I don't know if I spread a little bit of that knowledge, but I was definitely vocal to people to say, wouldn't be a bad idea to sell your hate pre-reveal like I did some of mine as a mod, which was a really big deal, being a mod selling pre-reveal. But I did because I made money and I paid for some life stuff, and it was awesome. So you do this, you make the smart move, and you got 7 ETH in the bank now. So now what happens?
So now at the time, I'm actually in Clementine's Nightmare by this
Mm-hmm.
point in time. I'm fully immersed in the Clementine's Nightmare. I'm doing the VCs. I'm being a whitelist grinder, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got the Hate Beast win. I sold. I didn't immediately start spending it, right? I was just like, oh my God, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to make sure I made the right decisions, and I didn't make all the right decisions, but I certainly made some of them, right?
Right.
So for that reason, this really helped me gain entry into. I always like to be a little bit biased and call to prominence Llama versus Genesis, right?
Yeah.
I started sort of discovering NFT Llama, sort of discovered the alpha that he was embedding into the space at the time, enjoyed it, and as a result, I wanted to ensure I immersed myself into Llamaverse Genesis. I bought a silver pass with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was like a whopping 1.6 ether, right? But
Right.
I saw it as a token to solidifying my continuity in this space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even then, as a whitelist grinder and a relatively successful one, in my opinion, I did not see it as forthright and continuous over time. I wanted to ensure that I stayed locked into the space and could continue to help it or be an asset for it, respectively.
Right.
And at least as a whitelist grinder, I saw myself as a little bit more disposable from that aspect.
Right.
So I wanted to immerse myself in a community, and my choice ended up more or less being Llama versus Genesis
Mm-hmm.
because I stepped into this group. I was surrounded by individuals that wanted to help me level up.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I was given the opportunity to help other individuals level up. When this
So cool.
cycle is working and forthright, it is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally feel that NFT Llama has done an excellent job, at least in instilling that for right now and originally when the collection had started as well.
Right.
He really knows how to keep you locked in. He's constantly developing and therefore giving you a drip feed of that development, constantly keeping you locked in with a sort of a streamline of dopamine, right? Because if you keep getting developments, if you keep getting attributes behind your project as a stakeholder, then you get excited naturally, right?
Right.
NFT Llama has done a very good job of this and therefore has enthralled me to the point where I decided that I didn't want to be a whitelist grinder anymore. I wanted to start helping other projects.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the immersion into Llamaverse was not immediate, right? It's a prominent community, it's a
Right.
prominent project. So, for that reason, how I actually gained entry or how I began that transition from that of being a whitelist grinder to someone bringing more value to the space, right? I started doing work for free, right? Started helping out small alpha communities and sort of their accruement, them gaining more whitelist spots, right? So I started out as a collab manager for them, and quite frankly, how I even got the spots in the first place is through my networks, right? Hey, are you looking for a connection through Nikki G's G Babies? Because I got you. Oh, and by the way, I got another alpha group here. It'd be cool if you could throw us some spots. That's how I literally did it for a lot of these groups. Connex by Xerox Chef uh, is probably the primary one that I helped out with. And then I guess I kind of got a little bit of a name for myself as a result of that, to the point where I got an opportunity over at Llamaverse Genesis, specifically working as a mental health advocate, right?
Mm.
Which, again, not paid for that task, not paid for that position, but it was my entry into potentially doing something more for Llama Labs. In
Right.
fact, I really have to paint that as forthright and such. That's really how everyone in the whole community that is staff gains entry is through those entry level jobs, right? It's almost a stepping stone process of sort of positioning and tiering other people's determination toward finding success in the NFT space
Yeah.
and also for other individuals in this space, right? Because you are a brand ambassador in that regard for the company. And the company, more or less, is a mastermind group again, right? We're
Yep.
here to help other people level up, to help you push past those plateaus.
Yeah.
Again, so that you can manifest those dreams, the desires, legacies, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's funny. I think that is it's all the interactions, and my interaction with Heliquin and Llama came from that Rub project, the Jolly Elves, because we hired them to help us, right? With marketing, and it always like I think that's what he's done best. Even Heliquin, right? His story was he started transcribing AMAs and making notes, and like that's literally how he got into so like all of these people that Llama have surrounded himself, like we do too. Everyone on our team has just seen what we are doing and they're attracted to it, and they're like, how can we help? And Llama same way too. And that really does build like a very powerful nucleus of people that they're not in it for money, right? They're in it to win together, and they believe in what's being built, which is a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
100%, right? And just taking that disposition and then expanding it further has really created the situation which I find myself in at current, which is a collab manager over at WhiteList Ping, right?
Cool.
Helping out as a mental health advocate over at Llamaverse Genesis, has also given me the opportunity at WhiteList Ping, which personal use case scenario for me, simply because so far this year I've missed out so far just from missing wallet submissions, 1.2 Ether, right? So just from that standpoint,
Right.
there's been a lot of lost potential profits. I'm looking to reaccrue those.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly passionate from that regard. But yes, these have provided platforms for me to excel and exceed any kind of expectations that I initially had so that I can begin that process toward continuity in this space, right? If you're looking to get locked into the space right now, I would highly recommend that you just look for a community. You immerse yourself with that community and you see how you might bring value to that community.
Right.
Just as I had begun to bring value when I first started my own business, right, around ad agency and SEO work. Don't be focused on the immediate returns at first. Don't look for that immediate feedback and acknowledgement. Just put your head down, focus, and do the work. Trust me, determination makes for success, my friends.
Right. Absolutely. We're streaming for a couple communities 24-hour mental health charity drive on Friday. So it's funny that you say that. And I won't go into detail, but my midlife crisis was a major depressive order. So I resonate with mental health, dog. It's cool to see that, that was your contribution that's turned into, which is episode 3, the whitelist ping. Maddie, any questions before we progress?
I had one and I literally just lost it. It was about oh, I know what it was. What you were saying about providing value, I think is one of those just overriding success principles, right? I think a lot of people miss this. Mike has gone into extensive talks back, especially during the Hape days, where everybody was looking for what's the secret, how do I get in. Every fourth question was how do I become a mod, and they always wanted to become a mod at some insanely hyped project, and it was always the same answer, which is, listen, you don't just show up and like, ta-da, you're awarded something. Just like you said, provide value. Everybody has those stories. Get in there, make yourself useful, be part of the community, act like a mod, even though you aren't a mod and you're doing it for free and you're just putting your time in there, you're helping out new people to the server, and you build up this reputation. And then eventually somebody's like, hey man, we actually got a mod spot open, we'd love for you to help out with this, and you move your way up. And I think it's interesting because what's interesting to me is coming into the space as an entrepreneur, and also Mike and I are older than a lot of the people in the space. um, that's how it is in the real world anyway. And what's amazing is that, like, I don't, it must mean that people also don't recognize it in the real world. It's far more beneficial to, if you want a job in some type of a field, have you ever grabbed lunch with somebody that's in that field, that's in a position of power or leadership, to say, I'd love to just pick your brain, grab lunch with you, and just sit there and ask them questions about, advice and how they would move into that. And again, seeking mentors, doing those things. And by the way, hey, how can I help out? Is there anything I could do to help out with the company for free? I have this time over the summer. I'd love to be a part of it, just learn whatever I can do to learn. And it might be in a mailroom, but you start making a name for yourself, right? And you can build a reputation. The exact same principles you were saying are true in real life. And it's just interesting to me that everybody is looking for some type of a cookie or a participation trophy because they have a degree. It's like nobody promised you anything. You know what I mean? Go do some work, go, make a name for yourself. And like you said, you might miss out on some ETH because you were doing these things for free. But listen, well, you're the gardener, so you know more about this than me, but like, you can start with one seed and plant it, and you're going to have to take care of that for a long time. And the farmer doesn't ask for a paycheck every day.
Mm-mm.
You're not getting paid by the hour as a farmer. Do you know what I'm saying? You put in that work, but there is a harvest at the end of it. And what do you get? Not only do you get to eat, but you eat a lot more seeds, right? And now you're set for the next season. Do you know what I mean? And it's like people forget that whole process is it's one of the laws of nature. And I
Yeah.
just think that it's interesting you brought that right back to the spotlight. And I just think we keep hearing that. It seems to be a resonating theme, especially during that time in this space.
100%, right? And it's an excellent analogy as itself as well, because any seed from seed to crop or seed to harvest, you're looking at least at about 90 days, right? So growth takes time, and that should be, that's why I like gardening so much, is it's an excellent analogy directly into life. And also is because I see it's sort of a vehicle to bring that value back to humanity in general, right? Because I definitely see flaws with our industrial scale agricultural practices, right? So I personally want to, I see Web3 potentially as a vehicle for me, at least in building the capital to the point where I can hopefully one day create a nonprofit organization where I'm literally giving workshops to our farmers in America today, showing them that they can feasibly essentially farm on an industrial scale with pretty much little to no cost as far as their herbicides or fertilizers and their pesticides are concerned, right? And the way I'm doing that or showing them that is actually deriving techniques from Korean natural farming, which is a technique that the Koreans have used for millennia as far as creating sustainable farming methods, right? So yeah, I'd really like to take some dollars away from big chema and big agribiz so that we can like create I don't know, more sustainable practices for the next 50 to 100 years as opposed to the next the sales figures of the next 5 to 10, right? So that's sort of that's why I have so much passion toward gardening, and also in any pursuit I highly recommend you get yourself a mentor. And my mentor with gardening, I essentially started helping out at a community garden, and I had my whole horizon just totally broadened in the sense that I was taught that literally there's a symbiotic relationship between the plants, their roots, and the mycorrhizal layer in the ground, which is the fungi, right? So there's all sorts of symbiotic relationships going on in life, and how you see those can really help benefit you, at least in the pursuit of those long-term goals, right? So cross analogies are extreme, at least in gardening, because I kind of like, giving things water and watching them grow into something way bigger than they originally started, right? I see it as a personal analogy for that fact and matter. And it's all the more emboldened me, at least in this space, in sort of waiting out that long game, right? We're in a marathon, guys, right? We're as far as content creation is concerned, just showing continuity through reciprocated or continuous content creation like you guys have done here at Midlife Crisis. That's how you make this marathon the long game, right? By continuing to develop and streamline value to his stakeholders. That's how NFT Llama develops and streamlines that long-term game, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're really in it for. We're here for that marathon. And that's why I really assimilate and find a lot of rapport with individuals in the same pursuit as I. Because we're in this for the long term, friends. We're in this for the next 5 to 10 years. Cryptocurrency, blockchain, Web3, and all the metadata within, it's not going anywhere as far as I see it. And for that reason, we're all grandfathers, grandmothers. Again, we all ought to consider ourselves literally taking the next step as far as the human experience is concerned, forging that path for the future.
Yeah. Very, very well said. We come to a fork in the road, though, fellas, and this is the fork. At about 8:00, I'm gonna need to step away for 5 minutes to help out the wife. But we have not even talked about the project yet. So here is my proposal to you all. We get into the project. When I step away, right before that, you can share your screen, Edge, and you can kind of walk us through the platform. And, a couple minutes in, I'll be back. I shouldn't be long. And then we can wrap it up. Or we wrap up now and then do a whole nother whitelist ping video. I'm open to either. Maddie, Edge, give me your thoughts.
I can give you a whitelist ping elevator pitch, or I can give you a full walkthrough, right? I could probably not only describe and walk through the foundations of whitelist ping is while you're away, but I could at least begin the constraints of what is coming to whitelist ping, which is quite frankly more important in my opinion.
Okay.
Is it really demonstrates that whitelist ping is a suite of tools, friends. It's a platform to really streamline you all more value in the forward future, right?
So let's do this. Let's do the elevator pitch now.
Yep.
We'll get a screen share up, locked and loaded. I'll hop away for 5 minutes. You can go through, Maddie, you can continue the conversation with the screen share.
Yep.
When I get back, we'll kind of wrap it up, do our closing comments, and wind it down for the night. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Been fantastic conversation, by the way. I knew this was going to be good, living up to expectations. We're almost at 2 hours, and we haven't even got to the project, so bravo, my friend. So let's hear it. We actually literally asked, we like to frame it this way, right? You got 2-3 minutes max. What's the elevator pitch, man? Why WhiteList Ping? Why should I be excited about this platform, knowing that there are platforms out there that aggregate whitelist data in essence, like Alphabot and other things?
Yeah, and what is it, right? What is it? Why should we care?
Yep.
Sure. So
That's the elevator.
what is whitelist ping? Well, imagine all the lost potential profits you may have had due to missed wallet submissions and mints in the space, right? Us at Llama Labs, we feel that's definitely a problem that's evident in the space. So we are aiming to provide you the solution, right? Whitelist ping is the solution. How is it the solution? Well, essentially, it's an SMS text and an email notification system that ensures you stay locked into those wallet submission details, you stay locked into those mint details, ensuring you can reaccrue those lost potential profits, and moreover, ensuring that you mitigate those aspects of organization time put into it in particular, and therefore giving yourself more balance in life, right? Now, of course, as far as any kind of competitors in the space, individuals that are pursuing a similar stream of value, we at Whitelist Ping are very focused about not only creating our own proprietary pieces that will push forward the tool itself, but also in trying not to go against the streams of value that are already present as far as projects pursuing and aggregating data. So how are we differentiating ourselves from them? Whitelist Ping is actually aggregating data across the entire NFT space, right? Ethereum, Solana, even Aptos projects well at the moment, right? So we are keeping you locked in to all these details, and we're actually utilizing not only proprietary scrubbing tools across Twitter and Discord to ensure that we keep you locked in these time contingent pieces of detail, we're also using a human-led team behind the process to sort of give you a virtual assistant related experience, at least at first, ensuring you stay locked in to wallet submission and mint. But of course, my friends, NFT Llama, how he builds, if you look at Llamaverse Genesis, under promise, over deliver was one of the primary cores of that project. I myself can certainly verify that as a stakeholder from day one. I've been given multiples of value based off what was originally been promised, right? I can guarantee you, for that matter, that the same process will be happening over at Whitelist Ping. So therefore, there's so much more coming to the platform itself, the suite of tools. And in not telling you directly what all of those aspects may be, trust me, I'm going to give you some today, but what all those aspects may be, it's been protecting the Purple Cow aspects that are being built directly into our project, right? The unique aspects that are really going to differentiate us from any kind of competitors, any individuals that are pursuing a similar stream of value for you.
Love it. And two things that immediately, I didn't know it was across multiple blockchains, which is nice. And that when we were talking, the thing that immediately is like, you want to talk about solving a pain point, I hate being in Discord all day. And being able to get a text message is a lot easier than having to even go to my own server to then go to a channel to look up pre-sale spot stuff, right? It's just a pain in the ass.
The reinforcement all the more.
Yeah, man, it's great. So I love that. I love that idea. And I love the under promise over deliver. Some of the most hyped successful projects that we've had on this show say that, and have also been extremely burned by even promising something small, because the people just get too jazzed up and are impatient in the space. So bravo to you for that narrative. I say at this point, let's get into the screen sharing, man.
Yeah, let's screen share. Let's walk us through it.
Let's do a little demo. When you share your screen, our stream is going to get a little wonky. I think one alpha that we can drop while you're setting this up is Edge has so kindly offered to help us integrate WhiteList ping into the Midlife Crisis Discord. So we will be doing that as well because Edge is the mother effing man. And now we're going to see what it's all about. By the way, Stargirl and I will get to that. We just have not gotten to that yet. It's on our list.
You guys are doing big things. You're building.
We're building, man. We are building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone stay tuned to Midlife Crisis. They do have big things coming, guys.
Always.
So you mentioned that at the very start.
Oh my God, dude. I can't wait to talk all about it eventually. We just got a lot of things in the pipeline. Okay, so the stream has ended. Cricket noise.
Yeah, we lost it.
So we lost the stream. I'm not sure what happened, bud.
He's fixing it. There it is.
There it is. No, says
Weird.
the stream has ended again. Oh, you know what, Maddie? You might want to go to the settings. We might have streaming disabled in this chat. We have different set of
I was like,
permissions.
sheesh. I'm not going to be able to stream.
Yeah, you might not have the... This is
Sorry, I don't want to
live.
talk you through it.
We're live. We're live. I mean, I would love to get a visual because this is one of the things that's a little bit different is that you can, you know, do the whole basically walkthrough online and it'll be recorded on YouTube for people to revisit. They can skip this part, obviously, because we're just trying to figure things out.
Interfacing. We're just testing them. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
You know, it's a pain in the ass. So I've got 3 monitors. I shit you not. Well, I'm going to show you all this. I've got 3 monitors. This is what I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain here, people. Oh, shit. There's my ceiling.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. I've got 3 monitors, okay? So I got a lot of things going on here. That's the Twitter. That's the everything going on. The problem is this, the stream sitch, I have to put my camera up to be head level right in front of the stream. So when I want to rearrange shit, I'm like this because I can't fucking see anything on my computer screen. Just a fun little tidbit for everybody.
Right. There it is.
You'll be the master of angles.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
That's why I'm running around like an idiot. Did you get it, Maddie?
Okay. So I don't see anything that's saying it can't. Connect, speak, video, use it. I put.
Are you on the actual channel specifically?
Yeah, I'm on the channel specific.
All right, let's try this again.
Let's see.
Yeah,
what it states.
when I attempt to stream, it says you've just been connected. So.
That's very weird. Well,
I mean,
we
I
might.
can still.
You
I can
might
fake
just-
it till I make it. We don't have to have the representation.
Yeah, I think
right?
you're just gonna
All right,
have
let's
to.
give us. You're gonna have to.
That's right.
Get very
We'll be
scripted.
fine as we are. Sheesh, we don't need no visuals, man. You guys can just imagine it.
So what I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
we'll just do it live.
is we got a sweet little static graphic there in the middle. I'm gonna let you 2 at it, and I will BRB.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So walk us through kind of the process. And again, sorry we can't show it here right now.
Yeah,
I'll figure that out in the future.
So let me just highlight again that we've given access to everyone over at Midlife Crisis, right? So all the more reason why, whether you're listening to this Spaces right now or wherever you may be, right? Step into Midlife Crisis. There's opportunity heading your way in the form of access to the WhiteList Pink platform. And there's definitely more value headed your way just in terms of the dynamism of individuals that you're able to encounter on a day-to-day basis here, right? So that being said, jump in Midlife Crisis. Totally, my friend. Maddie Mintz and Mikey G are definitely showing through examples of work and references, mind you, that over time they're delivering you value, right? we're going to be doing the exact same thing over a whitelist ping. In fact, that's the whole reason why we give you platform access in the first place, so that you can take this platform home with you, right? You can try it for yourself, find the feasibility in it, and then thereafter you can decide whether it's worth the mutual value exchange, right? Full transparency forward. This is how we want to move forward, so that you can get an idea and ascertain how the development is going to progress, as well as all the other aspects of the project, right? So this is more or less how we're going to move forward with midlife crisis, and at least creating that foundation for more mutual handshakes forward in the future, right? Because if you try it through this community and you let, Matty Mintz and Mikey G, let them know that you like the platform, that opens up even more of a tier for mutual handshakes going forward in the future.
Sure.
And I really want to highlight that as evident is NFT Llama building with interoperability and partnerships is definitely going to be focused on expanding that stream of value across several different communities in this space. In fact, community is continuity, and we feel by helping other super communities embolden their own value propositions, we can all walk, again, that yellow brick road together in this space as far as continuity is concerned, as far as the future is concerned, right, my friends? So please jump into Midlife Crisis. You will gain access to the platform via details in there here soon. Outside of that, however, we have set up platform access for now, ensuring that it's a risk-free situation for you. We've set it up on Sepolia Test Network, right? Edge, why Sepolia ETH? Why Sepolia Test Network? Quite frankly, it's if you use a primary wallet, my friends, you won't be signing off any permissions to your ETH related tokens with that primary wallet. Moreover, that Sepolia ETH ought to be thought of as monopoly play money in this space. It's free. You can get it via a faucet. You can get as much of it as you'd like. So that is the reason why we chose to set up the platform access originally on Sepolia Test Network. And quite frankly, that's the whole reason why I do the platform access in the first place, is that's a little bit trivial of a process to get through if you're somewhat new to the process of a MetaMask wallet. However, quite frankly, we have an instructional that will be provided when Midlife Crisis announces this access to their family, right? So everything will walk you through the process. Sepolia Test Network, we will get you integrated throughout that process as well. And all of this will lead you toward the mint price and minting access to the platform itself. In which case, once you gain access to the dashboard, my friends, it should be as simple as 1, 2, 3 thereafter, in the sense that via keyword related search, you type in the name of your whitelist, and then the database literally populates based off that keyword related search, in which case you can then select enabled on that notification, respectively, for whatever whitelist you may have, ensuring you stay locked into the wallet submission time and details, as well as the mint details and info as well, right? But before even getting into that 1, 2, 3 step and process, you got to get to the profile and fill in your personal information, right? Whitelist ping, asking and actually providing SMS, text, and email pings is going to be asking for your personal information in that regard. Your phone number, your email address. Now, Edge, why the heck would I want to give my personal information to a Web3 backed company? Why I don't know Llama Labs. Why ought I trust them? I totally feel you, my friend. We feel you for that fact and matter. And for that reason, we've actually transitioned that to another company, specifically Twilio. Twilio is a leader in the field of information logistics. They're a billion-dollar company, and that's part of the reason why we even chose them in the first place to handle your private information. Because in creating a secure database to handle your private information also enables them, being a global company, to get that information across the entire globe, encapsulating the value proposition as we feel forthright, right? Because no matter where you're at in the globe, you ought to be able to acquire these SMS text pings, these email pings, and moreover, you have to feel safe providing your information respectively, because it's not going into a Llama Labs database. It's actually going directly into a Twilio database. We simply give the information for them to then ping to you respectively. So my friends, there's no direct connection between your wallet information and your personal information. You ought to feel completely safe in inputting your personal data, your email address, and your phone number respectively, right? So thereafter, in inputting that info, now you just simply ensure that you have the time differentials for mint locked in respectively, right? So you've inputted email address, you've inputted phone number. Now, as far as when to get notified before the mint itself for your projects, you simply differentiate between a 5 and a 60-minute standpoint when you'd like to receive text pings, when you'd like to receive email pings, respectively. And my friends, at this point in time, you're completely done, right? You can navigate the platform as you see fit. And I feel personally that the most befitting scenario for you as an initial user of WhiteList Ping is one in which that you navigate, you get onto the website itself, you connect your wallet, you get all of your whitelists enabled respectively on a weekly or even a bi-weekly basis. And then you trust the team. You trust the team thereafter to keep you locked in to those time contingent details so that you can bring in more balance in your life, right? You can bring in more health, wealth, and prosperity. Why does the farmer who's got a dairy cow 100 foot, 100 meter away, why does that farmer buy a gallon or a liter of milk? It's no different from whitelist ping. It is literally to free up the back end, the front end processes in that farmer's life so they can bring in more health, wealth, and prosperity to their life, to their family's life. And that, my friends, that is the surface level value proposition of whitelist ping. However, that's not what you ought to fully expect coming shortly after mint. In fact, the platforms, the tools that are being positioned behind whitelist ping itself are actually proprietarily being built out right now as we speak. And I'll certainly give you some puzzle pieces in that regard as well. First and foremost, I'd highly recommend that you go on Llama Labs NFT on Twitter. Follow Llama Labs NFT on Twitter and look for any kind of proprietary tools that are being built out. Look at any kind of platforms that have been acquired by the company in the recent past. These will give you great indications for things that may be finding their way over to the whitelist ping platform and providing further dynamism for how you're able to navigate this space going forward in the future. Now, my friends, I'm definitely going to give you some pieces as far as what those are all concerned, but I'm not going to give them all to you, right? Not going to give them all to you because I must maintain that aspect of under promise, over deliver the NFT Llama built Llamaverse Genesis with, right? And additionally, I've got to protect the purple cow aspects, the unique aspects that could potentially differentiate us from any kind of competitors, that could really instill that wow factor for you later on as a holder of this project, right? But let's give you some puzzle pieces. I would probably first and foremost call out one of my personal favorite puzzle pieces. It is called NFT Inspect.xyz. This is obviously a website. You can all get onto it right now. This is a Web3 social intelligence tool that really is going to identify for you projects that are the biggest movers as far as social media market sentiment is concerned. And of course, your blue chip projects, as well as your up and coming blue chip projects. I personally really enjoy this platform, not only because Llama Labs has 100% acquired it as a company, but also in navigating the space. It is a great tool whether you're a consumer or whether you're the actual project, in the sense that you can see what patterns exist in differentiating the market sentiment of your community, the strength of the community itself, which then as a result does directly translate into the overall sentiment of that project, right? The value of that project, the floor price of that project, respectively. So what is NFT Inspect doing? Friends, it's simply educating you the prominence that you have over your digitized proprietary asset, right? That's what they are at the end of the day. Therefore, you have all the control in the world and actually creating more anticipation, more of a streamlined value behind that project itself, behind that NFT itself. How do you do it? By locking in social media, respectively. And NFT Inspect in particular is a tool that allows you, that really engages you to educate yourself on the patterns that are existent at determining the factors of the total market sentiment, right? So you're able to see total project breakdowns based off project ranking. This is across Ethereum and Solana. The pride percentage of that project, how many stakeholders in the project are using an NFT as their profile picture, and additionally the reach of that project, which is very important because reach directly translates to the value that the project's able to then funnel back into their holders, right? Whitelist opportunities, collaborations, and partnerships. The higher the reach of the project, the higher potential and propensity that the stakeholders are going to be able to gain immediate value off of that, right? It goes further in the sense that you can get detailed analytics on the individuals that are most locked in with the community. Specifically, as a collab manager, I find this tool extremely useful in the sense that you can look and see out of the entire NFT community of whatever project you're looking for, what community members are most followed by the community. So as a collab manager, I guarantee you that the top 10 of the most followed by their community will certainly be able to get you locked into a collab team, respectively, right? So it's definitely going to keep you locked in as far as a consumer is concerned, as far as a business is concerned, and a project being able to determine its entire health across a period of time, right? So jump on nftinspect.xyz, my friends. That would be a platform that's been acquired by Llama Labs. It is being built out to have a little bit more of a proprietary look. It is being built out to have more proprietary function. In which case, it will then thereafter find its way onto Whitelist Ping. So big whoop, Edge. You've taught me how to educate myself as far as the social media market sentiment is concerned with my project. That doesn't bring me immediate value, man. Why does it even benefit me? We thought about that too, right? So we're just educating you at that point in time. We're not bringing you immediate value. So why don't we incentivize the whole pings, the social media portion of the space? So that actually leads us to our partnership, our mutual handshake as Llama Labs with a company called Fusion.xyz, which more or less is a bounty system provided for projects where they're able to put their Twitter posts up as bounties and then encouraging their holders, the locked-in community members, to then engage with those posts, like retweeting and then commenting with them respectively, which then gets them on a leaderboard, right? This leaderboard then it dishes out weekly incentives for you. So this is how we will be adding on to that tier as far as locking you into the educational aspects. This is how we will incentivize it respectively as well.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Maddie? Nah. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You got to look for that, though, right? Like NFT Llama builds with interoperability and partnerships. He builds with deep project ecosystems. So there's certainly going to be incentives that are locked in, right? I'll go in even further and at least spill the beans, let you know that we're actually beyond the actual NFT Inspect incentive platform. We will actually have somewhat of a reward and a coupon system going as well, right? So that's something that we will be building out shortly after Mint, in which I highly encourage you to stay locked into Llama Labs NFT on, as far as getting any more leeway indications on when those may be surfacing specifically. So what have I done so far? I basically told you a little bit about Whitelist Ping. I've given you somewhat of a little bit of a premiere walkthrough of the dashboard initially, right? I've given you some indication that it's a platform, it's a suite of tools, and I've identified some of those tools, those puzzle pieces, as far as what that makeup may be. Specifically, I've identified NFT Inspect.xyz. I've identified ShuttleBay.xyz or Fusion.xyz, right? There's much, much more, my friends. again, why am I not telling all of it to you? Well, we've got to save some of the wow factor for later. More importantly, the proprietary aspects that are being built in, we really want to protect those from any kind of competitors that may find themselves in a similar pursuit as far as a value proposition is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I want to give you some more, right, guys? So let's give you one more, and that would probably be Gosu Tools. Gosu Tools is actually our partnership at Llama Labs with Silicon Valley devs. Specifically, one dev in particular, he's heading the group called Gosu. Gosu works for a company that we all know and use on a daily basis. However, his contractual obligations with that company denies us from actually being able to state it, unfortunately. But that being said, it definitely has the prestige and prominence that we're looking for as far as developments are concerned. And he also has the networks that we're looking for as well, in the sense that Gosu is really locked in with individuals over at NFT Nerds, has a lot of a close correlation with a lot of those individuals. So what is Gosu Tools, moreover? Gosu Tools is an analytics platform that aims to meet and exceed all the standards available in the space as far as analytics find themselves at today. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but it also aims to add proprietary aspects as well to further drive evolution in that aspect of the space. So specifically, they are going to be adding a sort of a tool that will be able to give you an indication for what the proper entry and exit price for a project respectively may be, mm-hmm. based off of supply and demand market sentiment, right? So if you're a short-term stakeholder aiming to be, this tool specifically would be helpful for you. And additionally, they plan to instill more or less a sniping bot where you can snipe based off rarity and traits, even when you're not at the PC, right? So it'll do that automatically for you. And at least at current, this dashboard, this whole experience will also be positioning itself to be generally available to everyone, right? Just as WhiteList Ping is trying to do right now in its selective access program with other super communities, right? What we're really trying to do is give you free access so that you can see the proprietary aspects in the works, and you can see the development stream and sort of get an expectation of how that might be going after mint and up until mint, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, keep your eyes on Gosu Tools as well, my friends. We'll be definitely instilling more proprietary aspects over there, in which case, again, we all want you to try it, see the feasibility in it, and then we can talk about the mutual value exchange.
Right.
So and to be mm-hmm. clear, you're saying all these extra things will eventually be under the WhiteList Ping umbrella.
Totally. So Gosu Tools, although free right now, will also, after developing its initial proprietary aspects, be developed out further to the point where an extension makes more sense.
Right.
Okay. And at that point in time, an extension will very, very likely find its way under the platform of WhiteList Ping.
That's awesome, man. And so, I caught the tail end of it, but I'm already seeing that MLC could probably benefit from this as well. Because we're sitting all day long trying to fight the right people in the space. And listen, it's nice to find the perfect meld, which is hype or notoriety, like Llama, and a genuine good dude like yourself. But I just don't want hype, right? Because that does nothing for me, because we aren't able to have fruitful conversations like this. So I'm excited to continue. I'm actually going to request a half-hour meeting sometime in the future so we can dive deep into just some SEO stuff and analytics stuff, because I think you have way better context than either Maddie or I do, and we like to learn.
Totally. Always, please use me as an asset, guys. This goes for you and anyone else listening today. My DMs are open across Twitter and Discord, so please use me as an asset in this space. I'm aiming to build out for the next 5 to 10 years and even longer. Let me be your asset in helping us forge that path together. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, and here's my question. First of all, can absolutely tell you did door-to-door sales. You got the monologue. You You nailed it. That's for sure.
When I came
Now,
back and you were still just like laser focused and giving more information, I was like, hell
dude,
yes.
it took 100% of my mental energy. I was just like, focus, listen, because you just kept dropping nuggets. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, remember that, write it down. Okay, remember that, write it down. And so there was a lot to unpackage there. We don't have the time to open all this up. Here's what I would say. We'll cut this up, and that's going to be a great video to explain what I mean. Here's what it is. You broke down, we gave the elevator pitch, but this was a much more detailed look at like what this can do and where it's going, and kind of where we can expect maybe some things to go in the next 3 to 6 months. But you also alluded to there's a lot more than just that. For the person who would be standing at the door who you were trying to sell this to, whose eyes started to glaze over, and they're kind of like, what do I need to know here? Right? Can you take what you just said and boil it down to about 60 seconds? The answer might be no, but it's my challenge is if you were to take that and say, here's what you're going to get with whitelist ping, and here's what's coming and how it's going to integrate. How would you do that in the most concise package for the person that just needs to know, why do I need this, and is ready to go?
Yeah. So quite frankly, I'd probably, because whitelist ping, the value proposition of which I've already made evident, right? And
Sure, sure.
and it's there's competitors in this space as well. So what differentiates whitelist ping from any kind of competitors? And I really actually break it down to team, right? I break it down to founders. I break it down to examples of work and references. And my response to that would really actually be an allegory, right? I see the space at current almost as an allegory, that of maybe being a fisherman, right? And when you're a fisherman and you fish from shore, higher population of fish, guaranteed catch of a fish every day, guaranteed chance of feeding your family on a daily basis. This is represented by founders that are providing examples, work references, and showing that they're delivering value to their family, multiples of which over time. This is clearly evident over at Llamaverse Genesis, right? This is what I'm highlighting with NFT Llama specifically. You choosing NFT Llama, choosing Mikey G and Matty Mintz is like being that fisherman from shore, right? Being able to eat every day. But there's always the opportunity that exists, right? The bigger fish in the ocean, right? There's no guarantee that you catch that bigger fish, however. In fact, you have to go out into the deep ocean to catch that big fish, respectively. You'd have to get into a boat, in which case, if that boat has an engine mechanical problems, always an omnipresent problem potentially. Also, in light of jargon of the space, you could run out of gas, in which case you have to swim back to shore, maybe get eaten by a whale or a shark, right? The point is not the morbid reality of the story, but actually just the whole analogy here, right? There's risk that is involved in any kind of investment, any kind of trust measure in this space, right? But in this risk, you must also conversely contrast that with what you may be receiving, and you need to utilize examples, work, and references to sort of build that determination of which, right? And I am telling you right now, my friends, not only does NFT Llama have these examples of work and references evident already over at Llamaverse Genesis, heck, Llama Labs, the company behind Llamaverse Genesis, but our friends and family over here at Midlife Crisis does as well, right? The proof is in the pudding. Just do the research, look for the examples of work and references, and quite frankly, it should be a no-brainer thereafter.
Right.
Okay.
And then to kind of put that bow tie on that is, in essence, you're delivering a comprehensive set of tools in one suite, opposed to a sniping tool, a whitelist, tracker, multiple different tools wrapped into one umbrella. Correct, or am I wrong there?
So whitelist ping, you have to think of it as not only an alert and a notification system, but quite frankly, a premium set of premier tools that are really going to help instill functionality and navigation for you across the entire space of NFTs
Right.
and investments going
Right.
forward in the future.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
built.
I heard it as this basically. Just to talk about the three areas you went to. You got whitelist ping. So you used the fishing analogy. I'll go with it, right? If you have one line in the water, you can pay attention to it. But if you have 10 lines in the water, you need a bobber to know when to pay attention when a fish is nibbling. And whitelist ping is going to do that for when mints are going to happen. It's going to alert you there. You got NFT inspect XYZ. That's going to tell you what bait to put on the line, because you need to know where the stuff's going, where it's hot, who's talking about it, and where to pay attention. So where you need to position the boat. And then you got, is it Gosu? And
Ghost.
Gosu's going to tell you about the details of the fish. You need to be there in the morning. You need to be there in the evening. You need to be there at sunset. You need to be there at midday. And it's going to tell you the facts about the fish itself. Is that what I'm hearing? If we're going in this
Yeah,
analogy?
tie down, Matty Mints. Yeah,
Boom,
positive
bitch.
reinforcement, buddy.
All right. there
We're
we
gonna
go.
straight up.
All right. Dude, listen, I am smelling what you are stepping in, man. I am smelling what you are stepping in. It's good. Okay.
Well, with that, I mean, that's the wrap up. I think the only thing before we kind of we always say little white lie in the beginning. We have 2 more questions at the end. They're very simple. But before that, just I think thorough job of explaining it. Kind of talked about what's in the future. Anything else you want to add into like the 3 to 6 month plan, or do you think we kind of covered it through that conversation?
Yeah, again, we really aim to, me personally, as an individual over Whitelist Ping, right? As the collab manager, as an admin, part of the admin team, I promise over on my end to do whatever it takes to bring you all multiples of value after mint day, right? But it's an easy promise, right? Because based off what I've already painted as far as potential streams of value going forward in the future, and quite frankly, what I haven't even painted forward. Right. So just from that standpoint, there's a whole lot more coming from Whitelist Ping, and just as a member of a team, I'm really excited to bring those to you all.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. And so with that, we're coming to a close, friends. We have taken a journey tonight. I'm going to say, Edge, it's one of the more interesting journeys we've had. We've had a lot of journeys on this show, but you've done a hell of a job taking us from getting out of the crib to acting school at 6 years old to then just making basically what sounds like the Microsoft Office suite for the NFT space. Pretty phenomenal how we got there. But to wind it down, we always ask 2 final questions. The first one is, do you have any questions for Maddie and I? Because we just peppered you for questions. We're 2.5 hours now we're at.
Yeah, totally. So I mentioned my number 1 book recommendation for everyone, not just Mikey and Maddie, but for everyone is your favorite book, right? But the way that the question ought to be phrased, according to Tim Ferriss, is if you could gift out 1 book
Yes.
to anyone, what would it be, guys?
Oh my God, there's so
For
many
myself
good
and
ones.
for the audience tonight. You got to pick one.
Maddie knows where I'm going to go because I'm rereading it for the 4th time. I'm not even rereading it for the 4th time. I'm just like going over. So I'm going to take
Go
it.
ahead and say it, because it's a good one.
I'm taking it. Robert Greene. Do you know who he is? Have you heard of him?
I've heard of Robert Greene, not super familiar.
48 Laws of Power.
Context.
48 Laws of Power.
Definitely heard of Robert Greene.
But his best book by far is a book called Mastery. Have you read it?
Holy I may actually have his book in the back here. I don't think it's Robert Greene though. Mastery.
Isn't it Robert Greene? Maybe I'm wrong.
I have Mastery by George Leonard.
That is. Of course, there's another.
George Leonard's got to know that there's a copycat, and apparently a much better copycat.
I mean, there's 1,000 books called Mastery, right?
Yeah. Right.
You need to read The Mastery by Robert Greene. It's a fantastic book. That is my answer. Maddie?
That's a good one. Man, there's such a library. Here's what I would say. What I like about your answer is Tribe of Mentors is that it instills in people the value to keep learning and to keep learning from the right source of people. And before that book was written, I would say the closest book to that, if I were to pick a book that I would gift gift people was Robert Kiyosaki wrote it's this bestseller, right? Of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the reason is there are, in my opinion, much better books out there, but that was the first book that got me excited about reading more books, about learning, about chasing people who were where I wanted to be in life. And first unlocked, you mentioned a 2%, right? That 2% in terms of passive income and how they think and how they create wealth versus the 98% that trade hours for dollars. That was a big eye opener. And I think for me, it planted a seed that, okay, there's this whole other world out there and I need to investigate it. And like I said, it led me to better books, but that was the thing that was the catalyst. And so, if you were asked, if your question, which it is what's the book I would give out? It's that, because I would hope that it would instill in people there are a lot of really, really good sources out there of information. You have to seek them out, and it's quite frankly, listen, it's amazing how people to me will kind of they'll balk at, well, this online mentor program with pick your name, it's $800. Yet they'll spend $800 of credit on a course that has no bearing on their future whatsoever at a university. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's per credit hour, and it's like, listen, man, you're cool going into debt for 80 grand for something that doesn't help you. Dude, spend $400 and learn from a guy that makes $400 million. Do you know what I'm saying? There might be maybe something he can teach you that a college professor can't. Not knocking college. I went to college. I had a great time at college. I'm just simply saying, Rich Dad Poor Dad taught me to really focus on who I listen to and do they have fruit on the tree? And did they get there in a way that I felt comfortable going there? Did they do it in an ethical way that I was compatible with? And that would be what I would say.
Excellent
Damn,
answer.
man. Maddie expanded. I just said read mastery. I'm done.
Well, I wanted
But
to say why, man,
damn,
because
dude.
there's just too many
No.
good books. I mean, he's got
I
a whole
mean,
book
I
stack
learned
behind him,
something
bookcase.
about you
I'm
right
the same
there.
way.
I knew that book
So,
was like impacted you. Now I
yeah.
truly understand why it impacted you.
Yeah, and again, it's like you don't have to go back and reread it. I mean,
Oh,
it's a pretty easy read, right? But the
right.
concept is, and I would say, Tribe of Mentors is a more thorough version of what that is trying to say, and probably a much more up to date version.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people, if I handed them a 500-page book, would read it. And so
Yeah,
Robert Kiyosaki's a little bit easier to digest and
Right.
and swallow. But yeah, the goal is ultimately Tribe of Mentors. I mean,
Right.
that's
But
you
I
got to
mean,
get to that point.
it's a little bit different too. I think Tribe of Mentors is meant to just be picked up and read in small pieces because each section
course.
stands alone, right?
Of course. But you know what I'm
one
saying.
thing I got to give it. You can totally, if you're listening to this right now, Tribe of Mentors is literally a book you can pick up and read for 10 minutes and put down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
meant to
that I
be
really
read that
enjoyed.
way. Yeah, it's
And,
meant
and
to
that's
be
also,
read
by
that
the way,
way.
how Robert Greene writes all his books that way too.
All right.
So very easy to do that.
And I'll add
Writing that one down. Sheesh.
I'll add 30 seconds onto the mastery of why you really want to read this book. It's simple. All you ever hear is 10,000 hours, you're going to master something, and that's done. No one really explains what mastery means, how different people through different careers and mediums have mastered things, and some pretty tangible processes to get to master, not to mention the fact that it's pretty impossible to master anything. And he takes you through a journey of kind of things to ground yourself in to start understanding mastery, and then all the way through people who have done it in multiple different genres. So no matter what you're trying to do, there's going to be something in that book for you, and the principles stand the test of time. That's why you want to read my book.
That's a tie down too. Sheesh. You guys both got some good allegories, I'll tell you what. So, but yeah, guys, quite frankly, the path is always continuous, always be the forever student. That's kind of the takeaways that I almost pull from both of your books, quite frankly. And
sure.
here's to continuing that path as we see it right now. We've already laid the foundation. We know each other. We've got that mutual rapport, and our audience has that mutual rapport with us. So
Yep.
let's use that as a platform to move forward from this point and not only expand the conversation, but also take that next step with anyone else who might be listening
Right.
today.
Right.
Feel free to use this as an opportunity to gain more rapport with any of us, and also conversely to let us gain more rapport with you. So,
And
yeah,
one
my
thing that
friends.
you did that I will compliment you well is you are, or the one of the few, and you did a thorough job of this, of bringing it back to us. So I thoroughly appreciate that, because you talked a lot about yourself in Llama Labs, but then also instilled that midlife crisis has the same value. So I appreciate you for that. One last question, and then Maddie will do his closing. I will do my closing. We'll call it a day, and we'll continue to build this beautiful friendship. And the question is, you've done a bajillion Twitter spaces. You've been a part of Twitter spaces. You've done a lot of AMAs. How has your time here at Midlife compared to what you typically are part of in the space? Give us your honest answer. Any feedback, uh, constructive feedback, wherever you want to take it, man.
Yeah, totally. So I really like the whole interpersonal aspect here at Midlife Crisis, right? You guys are literally able to get down in the deep constructs of an individual and what makes them literally the individual sitting in the chair today, right? And I think that that's something that a lot of people are trying to understand the algorithm of which, right? Just like I, in picking up Tribe of Mentors back in 2015, was trying to understand, right? I wanted to try and get a similar disposition in of the individuals that were manifesting their dreams, their desires, their legacies in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I this is the way, this is the path, my friends, is in mentioning your peers and shouting each other out and pushing everyone forward toward the future, right? We're all in this big space of commerce, and everything we do is progressive toward the future of humanity as we see it, right? So this I see is my opportunity to help humanity as a whole. This is your opportunity as well, my friends, and for that I treat sky as the limit. So
Thanks,
definitely
man.
looking forward to many more times in the future, right?
Hell yes. This is only the first of many in the sky. I like that. And Biggie Smalls' famous words,
Hey,
sky's the
there you
limit,
go.
baby.
You're the first one who's called me out, man. Sheesh.
Come on,
I
bro.
like it. And then I say our team is a machine, which is a poll from Andre Hicks, Mac Dre.
Oh, Mac Dre. Okay.
It's
Nice.
a
I
way
like
old
that.
one.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
sure people who are a little bit more our age know what we're talking
Right.
about. I'm 31 years old here, but regardless of
Oh, we
which,
got
just
a
a nice
decade
little
on you,
pull of
dog.
nostalgia. Yeah, but yeah, regardless, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about.
Well, man, thanks for the kind words. We appreciate it. I'm gonna throw it to Maddie. He'll do his closing comments. I'll say mine, and I'll close it out, let our community know what's in store for the rest of the week, and we'll call it a night. So, Maddie, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation. And here's the thing. I knew we were gonna be kind of kindred spirits just before we even went live. Just talking with you, seeing the background, I was like, okay, we got books. And not only that, but you demonstrated very early on that you don't you don't just have books as a background, you actually read them and put them into practice, right? And so, for example, what Mikey was saying, reframing things and bringing things back to us. You can tell you've read Dale Carnegie, using Matty Mintz and Mikey G often within that. People love to hear their name. These are practices that when you've been reading the books and you work hard, you notice when other people are doing the same. And again, I can tell that you have thrived in a sales background, and not only a sales background, but we ultimately, the mastery comes from teaching it to others, right? And that's what you did for such a long time. Um, I really enjoyed hearing about your pain point, because that's something that fascinates me with everybody in life, but with specifically with leaders and people who are going places. Because Mike and I have had some pain points, and it's really defined who we are, and it's what's led us to where we're at now, and our desire to want to give back and help other people. And I do think there's something interesting about the fact that everybody I've met that has gone through a pain point and succeeded through it has this desire to help other people at least get through that similar type of pain point, but mostly in pain points in general.
Hmm.
And it shows. And I just think it's a really, really good character quality. I understand why you use those all of things and parlayed that into becoming a community manager for what you're doing with Whitelist. What I think is interesting about the project. And what I really enjoyed is your breakdown. It was very thorough. And here we are, we get to a technical difficulty where you can't show us what's actually going on. And dude, you went on a monologue. You just ripped it. It was awesome. And here's what it means. It means you're passionate about it. This isn't some script or something where you have to sit there and make sure you have your bullet points. You just went off of everything you know about the project, and it was just pure excitement coming out. And I think that that's an amazing quality for projects to have. And so, like Mike said, man, this is a suite of tools that are going to make being in this space easier, more productive, and more profitable. What's not to like about that? And at the end of the day, the money's in places where we solve problems. Mike talks about that all the time. And not only is this part of a suite, but it's a suite that's backed by one of the standards in the space. You know what I mean? And so it's like, not only do you have a good starting lineup, but you got depth to the team. And I just think it's very, very powerful. So thank you for taking the time. I really like where your head is and where you're going with it. And I think that they have a really, I don't think that collab manager is going to be the
Right.
final step for you. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what I think. Thanks for taking the time.
Maddie, that was
You just said Matt,
beautiful.
yeah.
That was
100%. We're just getting started in this space, and for that reason, I know that Midlife Crisis already hashing out its kind of proprietary aspects or its unique aspects of just deep dives into individuals. Sky's the limit again for us all. I really think that what you guys are doing is phenomenal, and it is 100% unique. This is an experience that I haven't yet jumped into. I myself, being a natural introvert, far more enjoy talking about a project and pulling attention onto that as opposed to just myself. But it's been a really pleasurable experience being able to share that with you all. And I have just a indicator in my just core that I've really helped other individuals, maybe not just tonight, but those who listen in the future, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And
thank
thousands of
you for the
people
platform.
will watch this in the future. And I want to add on to what Maddie said. Maddie said some really, I think I like how he recapped it. I would add on, there's a couple of things that stood out to me. One, you actually chatting with you on Discord before you even came on the show, I could feel your energy. And I feel like I'm one of the few people that can do that. And it was really cool to see like, oh, this is what it's kind of like probably talking to me through Discord. That's a little self-serving, but I'm going to say love the energy that you bring. And what Maddie just said, what that really translates into is you can tell that you are just truly jazzed and passionate about what you do. And that is one of the most important things to success in life. And then again, to reiterate what Maddie said, it was really cool to see that, like, knowing some of the books that you read and how you were literally intertwining it into how you interacted in the show, how you carry yourself. And you're a fantastic student, which is now turned into you will continue to be a great teacher and grow in your future as well. And then finally, I always close this out by saying we just spawned a close to 3-hour virtual friendship with maybe having 10 to 15 minutes of chat before this. And this is just the beginning, man. We're going to win together. And Maddie and I cannot wait. And just thank you so much for your time, because I know we are all busy and it's a big ask to say, do you have a 2 to 3 hour chunk? Not 45 minutes, not a half hour, not even an hour. We want 2 to 3. So we appreciate that, man, a lot.
Quality content, my friends.
Thanks.
Definitely looking forward to next time and many more thereafter.
For sure. And with
Love
that
you all.
being said, family, Midlife Crisis still has a massive week. This is one of the first milestones, but we got Dex, original co-founder of Phantom Network, coming back on. One of the most hype projects next to hype that I've ever seen. And everyone's like, what the hell are they doing? I spent a lot of money on this and nothing's happened. Well, Dex is coming. He's going to tell you what the hell they've been up to. And let me let you know, they're working, and they're working hard. And Dex is one of the more genuine people we've met in the space. He'll be on Thursday. Tomorrow night, we have kind of stepped up and become a premier stream partner for Ape Tank. We will be streaming Ape Tank tomorrow night. Very simple concept. Take Shark Tank the show, put a bunch of bored apes on a board, have projects come, pitch their idea, thumbs up, thumbs down, whether or not they want to ape into the project or not. And then Friday, like I mentioned earlier, we are honored and we've been asked to host an entire 24-hour telethon that is happening on a Twitter Space AMA. Tons of free NFT giveaways, big projects like Quirkies, The Plague, and many more will be showing up, giving away free NFTs and raising money for mental health. So we are the premier stream partner for that as well. That's happening on Friday. And shit, man, we're just getting started. We love you all. We cannot wait to see you again on stream. Midlife Crisis.